I'm back, everybody. Yes, I am. And we're going to change the topic. We're going to talk about health. Um, Food wise, if y'all want, we could talk about health as far as some of the issues some of us may be facing, or somebody in our family may be facing. And we're going to talk about different things. I want to talk about health as it relates to being diabetic. My husband is a diabetic. And I think that's an important topic because I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know anything about being diabetic before, but I do know that it runs in my family, right? Um, like my grandfather, he was blind because he was a diabetic. He lost his eyesight like before I was even born. So he ended up. I'm not sure what he died of. I never, because I was young when my grandfather passed away. I may have been when he passed away, maybe seven, between 7 and 9 years old. I'm thinking I was maybe about 7 years old when he passed away, and that's my mother's father. Um, Now um, on my dad's side of the family, they lived to be very uh, old, but not the men. The women live longer than the men. Isn't that weird? Is it like that even today, where the women live much longer than men? Because I remember having my grandmother, my grandmother's mother, and my grandmother's grandmother living. So I had a grandmother, a great grandmother, and a great great grandmother living at one point. So I do know that my father's side of the family, my grandmother was like 104 when she passed away. The and that's the one. Those are the people who ate what they grew. Right? They grew their own um, fruits and vegetables. They grew that themselves. And the meat, they actually dealt with the hogs, the pigs, the oh shit, my phone hit the ground again. That's like the third time. How the hell that phone? See, I don't understand, but something wants this phone to break. Okay, this phone is cursed. Or maybe I'm just cursed. Let me get these boobies, make sure they don't fall out. Okay. We're gonna talk about health. We're gonna talk about being diabetic, high blood pressure. I don't know much about that. Although people will assume, oh, you're a big girl, you must have some health issues. Well, I don't. I've never had high blood pressure. I don't have diabetes. And my husband has never been a big man, and he does have, he is a diabetic. It runs in his family. His mother's diabetic, his sister's diabetic, his dad was diabetic. They're, his aunts and uncles, they're diabetics. So I'm afraid for my children, right? My children has a high probability of becoming diabetic, which is scary. That's just scary, right? Um, I had one son, I was watching him because he used to eat a lot of snacks. When he was younger, he just wanted snacks after snacks after snacks. So I would go get him checked because I heard that if you being a diabetic, there's certain signs where you're thirsty all the time. I think my husband found out he was a diabetic. We were married for years. He found out he was diabetic after my first son was born. but before the second. Actually, he's saying it was around the time my second son was born. So my second son is 21. So he found out he was diabetic 21 years ago, and that means my husband found out he was diabetic when he was about 27, 28. No, 25. About 28. He was 28 years old when he found out he was diabetic. And the weird thing about it, that's when he ended up becoming diabetic, because we were in the military, so we got tested all the time for for different things. And he said he was thirsty a lot, and his hands started getting numb, and that's when he went to the hospital, found out that he was diabetic. Let's see. Steel mills and formwork. Yeah, the men passed before. Like, I think all my grandfathers passed away before any of my grandmothers, and my grandmothers lived years past their husbands. So, I'm not sure if they. Let me look it up. I'll look it up. I think I did hear where they say that women live longer. Um, Let me check. Let me see what it says. Let's see. Who lives longer, man or woman? It looks like women live longer, because it's saying, why do women live longer than men? Let's see. They said that according to United Nations world data, women live average 4.5 years longer than men. In Singapore, women can expect to live 4 years longer than men. Let's see what else. Wait. I don't care what they say in the UK. Let's see what they say in the US. Okay. I'm not sure we have the same issues. Let's see. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, so I keep thinking that I'm going to pass away before my husband. And remember, I told you all, I'm not sure if y'all remember, but I said that I was going to pass away before I turned 50. There was something that changed just recently, and I'm not sure anymore. See, I thought, though, that that's why we would die sooner. The stress on our bodies of giving birth, I would assume that would be something that would, whew. But my husband and I was talking. Was it maybe when was it? Yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. Um, I mentioned that there's areas around this world. I think in China. I told him I think it's China and maybe somewhere in Africa where they kill female children. Right? If the woman finds out she's pregnant with a female, she'll have an abortion. Now, the only reason I brought that up is because I was thinking, if you have a whole nation or country killing off females, what happens when they grow into adults? Is that what it is, China? Yeah, what happens when they grow into adults? The males no longer have females to marry, right? That doesn't that make like natural sense? That if you're killing off the females, then who are the men going to marry? But they say that they do it for economic reasons, because females in China weren't allowed to work. So if they're not allowed to work, then that means they can't help the family become wealthy or survive. And because of that, they want their firstborn to be males, and then they usually don't even want females. Let me turn this thing on. Hmm. Okay, there we go. Last time I meant to hit the camera, and I ended up hitting stop broadcast. So that was my fault. Um, that's why those men are lonely. Yes. You know what brought this up, Mika? That topic. We was looking at the movie Taken. I'm not sure if any of you seen Taken. They're like on part 3 by now, I think. Anyway, I like that guy who plays in Taken. But anyway, the movie is about his daughter gets taken so they could put her as a sex slave, sell her as a sex into sex slavery. And so I was wondering, like during the movie, I was wondering these men are paying good money, hundreds of thousands of dollars for females or women. And then I started to think, like, who would buy women? And that is why my mind went to this thing where they have nations that don't have enough women. They don't have enough women for men, and one of the reasons is because they're killing the females before they even get a chance to be born. And then I heard in China that they can kill the female even after she's born. Like there's some women, the families deciding to kill the females even after she's born, up until a certain age. They'll kill them. I was like, damn. So, sometimes we might be a little spoiled and say that look, the United States is such a terrible place and unfair, which it is to a degree. We still have to think about how it is in other places. Being a woman in a lot of places put you at a big disadvantage. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things you couldn't do. It used to be like that here as well, but a lot of laws changed. Things gotten better. Anyway, I named it Help in case you wanted to talk about the food, Mika, because you mentioned GMOs, which I would love to hear more about that. GMOs. And listen, when I think about my husband passing away before me, wow, it brings me to tears. Like I can't even imagine. There was a point in my life where I was thinking to myself, in the marriage and like, if he passed away, I'll just be a young widow, right? And now I can't even imagine being here without my husband. Like I literally can't. I don't even want to think about it. Okay, you change it to your laptop. Okay. Oh, you're charging. You need to charge your laptop. Oh, okay. Mine is plugged in always. It's plugged in now. Yeah. That's a good thing about a laptop. It's not like a phone. With a phone, you gotta charge it and wait for it to charge. With a laptop, you can just plug it in and it'll be on it. That's that's the only reason I'm not on my I don't use my iPad when I jump on live on YouTube. Anyway, so as far as me now, I've also considered the reverse where I pass away before my husband, which I've always known that I'm gonna die before him. I actually never, I don't know that, and I never thought of it that way where because he could pass away anytime, right? I never thought of. I just know that I'm always knew that I was gonna be gone before I turned 50. But anyway, and early on in our marriage, I was considering that if something happened to my husband, I was trying to find him a wife. And I was thinking about like my sister and my husband. I was thinking, I love my sister. My sister loved my husband, right? That's when my children were younger. I was like, I know for a fact my sister and mother family will make sure that my kids get taken care of. And I was like, my sister, she's younger than me, a lot younger than me, by the way. Okay, my little sister, she is 30 now, I think, 30 or 31. So she's young, and I was thinking, if I pass away, and I would want my family to be involved in raising my kids. I didn't never want in-laws to be involved in raising my kids. See, that's the problem. Because of me and my in-laws having the issue, I never trusted them with my kids, and therefore it's hard making decisions that might relate to your children when they're young. So I'm thinking, oh my God, I got to do this living will. In my living will, there's a lot of things I would want, but I can't demand. Like, I can't demand that my parents get my children because I'm married, and their father is not going to want to give up the children. So but I was still trying to put some things in there, to try to at least let my husband know that I would like for my parents to be involved in my children's lives, because I live far away from my in-law. I mean, from my family. Everybody's still in Louisiana, and here I am in Delaware. So if something goes wrong with me, my kids are up here in Delaware. My family is in Louisiana. I can't make my husband move down to Louisiana. So, all I could do in my living will, I play some things where, I wanted my children to be able to at least go and stay with the grandparents during the summer months, and, for them to be heavily involved in their lives and shit like that. But, and I was trying to figure out, like, how can I get my sister and my husband together? Like, he would make sure she's taken care of, and she would make sure that my children get taken care of. I was like, that's a win-win shit. At one point, when I was thinking about divorcing my husband, I was trying to get him hooked up with my sister. I was like, maybe, because I know that she's single, and I know that he'll take care of her. But my sister's young, smart, intelligent. She's always taking care of herself. She owns her own business. She's been owning her own business since she was like 18, right? Um, so it's not like she would need a man to take care of her, but I just knew that, I was thinking all kinds of, I was like, look, this is all about the children, God damn it. And I am all about family. I'm not sure, we got a lot of women, they don't think about their families. Once you have children, your children's supposed to be number one. There's no such thing as you being number one anymore. You start bringing children into this world who cannot fend for themselves. They can't take up for themselves. They can't cook and clean for themselves. Like, they can't teach themselves not the right way. You supposed to. They supposed to come first. And even if you end up wanting still being young with children, the truth of the matter is, you lost your childhood when you decide to be a parent. You're supposed to actually want to be a parent, a good parent. But we have a lot of women who don't think along those lines. I heard someone in a video where they claim, well, they have the children, but it's all about them. They want to be happy. And I'm thinking to myself, you want to be happy? Hi, Ida Storm. Like, what you mean you want to be happy? Like, what does even that mean? What does being happy mean for real? Because I don't know. Because I'm like, you have kids and you got to take care of your kids. And you got to make sure they are happy and taken care of. And you don't even have to worry about them being so much as being happy. But you need to make sure that they are taken care of and that they are safe. That happy thing, I don't know what that means so much. Right, Ida Storm? And see, that's what separates some women from other young girls who've had children. You know what I mean? Like, I sacrificed. I ended up being married to my husband as long as I'm married to him. Like I said, in part because of my children. Now we like I said, early on, me and my husband, we married. We didn't have no children. Nobody was pregnant. We didn't end up starting our family until we was 5 years into the marriage. Okay, so it's not like we got married because of the children. But once children get involved, everything changed. Like, everything changed. I was no longer free to do this and that and the third because we got kids. You know, you know what I mean? I couldn't be free and just go. Me and my husband couldn't just go if we wanted to go on vacation or if we wanted to go to Six Flags. Kids too young. We can't take them to Six Flags because they babies. We can't even have fun with them. Like everything changes. Some women though, they'll say things, well, I'm not happy in this relationship, so I'm gonna pick up my kids and I'm gonna be gone. And I'm like, okay, what you mean you're not happy in the relationship? Like, what does that mean? Does that mean he's beating you and mistreating you? Or are you two aren't really chatting it up? Y'all not communicating. If you just not communicating, then go to counseling. Try to figure that shit out. But sometimes you need to be there with both the male and the female. You know what I mean? The mother and the father. Sometimes that comes above you being happy. Now, if you're getting beat, abused, or anything like that, that's different. That's a different situation. Of course, you don't stay in an abusive relationship. But that was a point in my marriage where I remember where I wasn't happy. And like I said, I don't even know what that means, right? Because even when there was times when I was thinking about leaving, I did not have an actual reason to leave my husband. Like he wasn't hitting me. He was taking care of us. He was taking care of the kids. He was doing his fatherly duties, his husbandly duties. So anything outside of that, it was just me wanting more. And now that I'm thinking about it now, I'm not even sure what I wanted. I, when I look back at it, I think I was being maybe a little selfish. I wanted us to be closer, but I wasn't really reaching out to be closer to him. It was almost like I was just there waiting for him to solve all the issues. I never took the initiative to go and say, look, things aren't right. We need to talk. I never did that. I just assumed that he would do that. And when he didn't do it over so long, I just figured, okay, well, we unhappy. And this shit ain't gonna work. What's that? Mika, how you doing, girlfriend?
Hey, how you doing?
Okay.
You can hear me?
Yep, I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, okay. I don't want to interrupt. Go ahead and continue. I'm
No,
sorry.
we could change it. Unless you had any questions for me or anything. I was just rambling. Just, talking about, you know, um, how when we have kids, at certain times in our lives, they come first. And I know to a lot of women, they don't like to hear this, but sometimes you need the man, you need a man in the house. Usually, hopefully the father, but it doesn't always work out that way. I get that.
That's true. That's true. I mean, like I said before, I'm a single parent. I mean, my son does have his father somewhat in his life, not as much as I think he should be. But I know one thing for certain is when I had my son, I sacrificed a lot. And I think now that my son, he'll be 17. Well, he is 17, he'll be 18. Now I start thinking about all the things that I didn't do that I wanted to do. But it
Hmm.
was a choice of me doing what I wanted to do or making sure he had what he needed. So
Right, and that's what being a parent is. You know what I mean? See, because now you still young. It's not like you old, and the things you wanted to do then. You know what I mean? You possibly could still do those things.
yeah.
Cause we don't. It's not like like some of these young females. They think, oh, you too old. Too old to what? I can still do anything I was able to do in my 20s. I still could do.
Oh, of course. I mean, age is just a number, you know,
Right.
th- and I think that really holds true because I mean, you see people in their 70s. You have that 70-year-old woman who is a bodybuilder.
Right. You saw her, that black female.
She's beautiful.
Oh my God, beautiful is not even a word for. I couldn't even believe she was 70.
Yes, and her body.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God. You're never too old to start. And she didn't even start. I think she was like 50 or 60 when she started bodybuilding, I think she said.
Exactly.
I was like, wow. She proves that you can do anything, when you put your mind to it.
Mhm.
You had the freedom when you become older, because after your kids grow up, you do have this sense of freedom. Like me being online right now, the truth of the matter is I got too much time on my hands. Oh, yeah, me doing all this baking and cooking and that's just too much time on my hands. I'm just looking for things to do. You know what I mean?
But you're being productive,
Yeah,
and
I'm
that's
trying.
what matters.
Right, that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm waiting for them grandkids, but I know they're gonna be a while.
Mm.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. And you know what? See, when I'm telling my stories, Mika, I don't want women to think that I'm beating down on them where I'm telling them they need to have a man in the house, because that's not what I'm doing. But I do think there's a lot of young females who they feel like they're telling the man, no, you can't be in the child's life, or you don't be with me, you can't do. And I want them to know the children need their father, even if it's the little bit time that you say your son has. And it don't even have to be his father, it could be your father. You know what I mean? You got brothers, just some male influences.
Yeah, I personally don't take it as you're beating down. I think the problem is that you have a lot of females who know it all, and they don't understand intelligence and then wisdom. You know, they think I'm smart, I'm intelligent, I know this, I know that, and they don't understand, well, there's people who have been here longer than you, that have seen some things and they know some things, and it doesn't hurt to just take yourself out the equation for a minute and just listen. A lot of
Right,
people just don't want to listen, and that's their issue, and that's why you have ignorance, a whole lot of ignorance going on. I have no problems with women who have built a family, who are married, talking about marriage and talking about why it's important. I don't think being a single mother is something you should be proud of. That's
right,
just me. I don't think it's something that you should glorify, because at the end of the day, your child is the one who's suffering.
right,
You may not look at it as them suffering because you're giving them what you think they need. No, mm-mm. They need balance. They need stability. And I think I learned that pretty early. After I had my son, I understood why they say get married, have children. Because some of the things that I wanted to do, if I had that man in the household, or that husband in the household, I could have done some of those things to better myself, because it
right,
wouldn't put it all on me. And being that I am a single mother, I'm not knocking single mothers, because at the end of the day, I have my child. He's here. There's nothing that I can do about that. But when you sit down and you actually think about things and how you handle situations, and I mean, for me, it's like I was so busy trying to hustle and do what I had to do to make sure my son and I was okay, that I can't even remember him growing up so fast.
right, right. I understand. Hi, hi, L Boogie. Welcome to the chat.
Hi, Elle.
Hey, hey, hey.
You wanted to add anything, L?
Okay. Okay, I have to make sure I had the right one. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Well, I jumped on. I did have a topic I wanted to bring up, but then I heard something that she said that kind of had me kind of hesitant, because I'm like, okay, do I want to go down this road? Because I don't know. I just feel like I'm always such the single mom cheerleader advocate or some shit. I don't know, but I don't know. It's like we have to just look at the reality. You know what I mean? Like, folks are not getting married like they used to, but people are not going to stop having children. And the whole ideology of marriage, we have to really look at it in perspective of, the current dominant culture. So
Mhm.
when you look at it, from that perspective, it's like, yeah, we get it, two parent, 2.5 kids, dog, all that. But that hasn't really been a true reality for a lot of us culturally for a lot of years. So before these social norms were imposed on us, we have to remember that, we're just doing things that we've been doing cyclical, just for eons, and we don't even realize that we're doing it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. The labels, I just get tired of the labels and everybody pointing a finger. It's like, it's not all single mothers. It's not all wayward fathers. It's just not that cut and dry. The topic I wanted to touch on was, I saw so much pettiness and bitterness towards single moms, if you will. I don't know. It was just like, it was an opportunity for men to point the finger at us and say, see how y'all don't let us be around our kids. And I've seen all these different videos going around where they filming the mom and the dad, they're arguing over the baby, who gonna put the baby in the car seat, who ain't, all this old stuff. For one, it shouldn't be filmed for all of social media, number one. But number two, we don't know the whole backstory of these people's relationships. It's just so much. We always want to point and blame, and it's just not that simple. My kids are grown. I raised my kids best I could, but I'm seeing now, my
I have a
kids.
question for you.
Okay, go ahead.
So you have your kids, they're grown. Your grandkids, if you had granddaughters or even grandsons, would you recommend them being a single parent, whether it's a male or female?
Well, see, that's the thing. Okay, it's not about what I recommend, because I just feel like, because I'm a single mom, people think that I'm like
Wait,
anti-marriage or whatever, right?
is
It's
this
kind of
the
like
Lego
she
building
said
stream that I'm
before
supposed
I
to be in?
even. I'm sorry.
Is this the right stream that
Bomb,
I'm
you
supposed
probably
to be
want to
in?
get him out of here.
Oh, somebody's talking.
Who
Oh,
is that?
Wait, I'm not supposed to be in this. Sorry.
oh Lord. Who the hell? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They
I'm
love.
like, get your ass, get your ass out of here. These folks be tripping. I don't trust nobody. I'm like, wait, what? This is the right street? Nah, you hit the wrong street on YouTube. This ain't no street. No, okay. So about recommending, when my middle daughter was first, okay, she got pregnant at 19. And she know when she told me that it was gonna be like, oh shit, I gotta tell my mom I'm pregnant, because I'm like, do better than me. My thing is, do better than me. If you want to have kids, yeah, it's hard to have them by yourself. That's not the best way to do it. But what I told, so I did tell them that. But when she got pregnant, and them two fools planned her, okay, whatever. I looked at her and I told her right in front of him, I said, that's gonna be your baby, right? And I know he felt away. They weren't married. He felt away. And I think I would have still had this conversation with her, even if she wasn't married. I mean, even if she was married,
Mhm.
because ultimately, for the most part, we're responsible for that child, for whatever it's going to do. Now, I'm not going to say that there aren't men that aren't stepping up. Things are changing. But the way it usually falls is that baby come up out of you, and you are going to be the one taking care of it. So I
Yeah.
let her know from that perspective. But like I said, I will say, in all fairness, they planned her and they take care of her. My
Right.
granddaughter, she don't want for shit. Her daddy love her, and he ain't had a daddy, but damn sure he know how to be a daddy. Because both of my granddaughters, they daddies are in their lives, and so far at 4 and 7, you know what I'm saying? It's been
Right.
consistent. So that's all I could ask for. Now, because they're not married, it could be better maybe if they were married. But what I'm saying is, the bottom line is, I would want for my grandkids to have their fathers in their lives. And that's more
Right.
important than whether or not They got a piece of paper, you know.
Right. No, I agree with you. It's not about always
Yeah,
about
yeah.
marriage,
So yeah,
but you,
so I don't know. I just be wanting to say, look, just because a bitch ain't married don't mean I'm over here telling people not to get married.
yeah, but you do know
And
that
yeah, hell yeah. You know,
the young kids are actually planning, like you said. I watched my niece and her boyfriend plan to have a baby,
yeah,
but they could have planned a marriage. What was this? Let me
yeah,
get
yeah. But you know,
this.
I'm just, I don't know. You know, trust me, I was nowhere in that planning. Um. Oh Lord, what are you being spammed?
Yeah, I kicked him out. It's okay.
Oh, good griefs.
Yeah.
Um, when I first met my in-law, if you will, you know, um, the other grandma. When I first met her, before you know my daughter, I knew she was pregnant. The first thing out of that woman's mouth was, "Oh, I can't wait for them to have a baby." And I
Yeah.
looked at her like, "Bitch."
Right, because the father's grandmother, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right, and we all know the woman gonna have more responsibility.
Exactly. Because where
Right.
her ass at now?
Hmm. Yeah. See, I
Nowhere to
think
be
we all
found.
know that. Like we all know that when it boils down to it, it's gonna always be the female who gonna end up. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but our
Usually.
children,
Yeah.
if we don't
Mm-hmm.
talk to them early on and explain, like we're not actually talking to the kids about marriage no more.
Mm-hmm.
To where they starting to have conversations with their boyfriends about babies instead of conversations about marriage.
Right, right. And you know,
I
and
had to go
you know,
ahead.
no, I guess because they're not seeing enough examples, and the ones that they did see, they fall apart. I don't
Exactly.
know. You know, because it ain't just me. It ain't. I mean,
Oh no,
there's
it's not just
people
you.
gotten married in my family. You know, I think it depends on the size of your family, but you know, overall, you know, and they haven't been to a lot of weddings. You know what I mean? Just the
Right.
whole like pomp and circumstances of, you know, what used to
Mhm.
be what we would call customary. You know.
Yeah.
So I remember being in my cousin's weddings. You know, I remember when my mama's cousins got married. You know what I mean? I was in somebody's wedding. I remember, you know, but
Yeah.
when my generation came up, it just was like, it just wasn't that quote unquote normal, you know. I don't know. It just, I don't know.
Yeah. See, when I was a little girl, I remember wanting to be the princess, meeting the prince, and marrying him. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like Cinderella, you
Mm-hmm.
want. But now the youth today, they talking about having babies. The female, when she really like a guy, she wants to have a baby by him. She's not
Mm-hmm.
saying, "Well, I want to marry him." She's setting out to have a baby with him.
Right, right,
See,
right.
so they're not really getting to know each other and falling in
Mm-hmm.
love. They just saying, "Oh, he's cute. Let me have a baby by him." And
And I
it's
think it depends because I'm thinking about my youngest granddaughter, and so she's 4, so she is still in that magic realm. You know, she ain't been tainted yet, and because of Disney and all those different things, so she understands like, you know, you're supposed to be linked up with somebody. You know what I mean? So now she's trying to figure out, well, where is the men in the family? You know what I mean? So
mhm.
she asked me, like, she said something about now mind you, she's 4. She's hilarious. She said, you no, well, what was funny, okay, this was funny. One day the grandpa was on the phone. They was talking to their dad and it was on speakerphone. And so I come out my room and I can hear his voice. So I kind of like dug back in the room, right? Now we cordial, you know, it ain't nothing, but I was just like, ooh, you know, because I know if he know I could hear, he'd be saying some shit like, hey, what you doing? You know, all that old shit, right? So I tried to sneak back out the room. So she called me. She said, say hi to your baby daddy, right? That's what she told me, right? So I corrected her. I said, cause you know, like what she knows. So I said, well, how you know that ain't my husband? How you know that ain't my ex-husband? I told her. She said, it is. That is your ex-husband. But it's still your baby daddy. Get over here, talk to him. Basically, is what she told me, So, but she understands the concept, but it's like, what do they see to emulate? You know what I mean? So it
Right.
just ain't a lot of that going around. Is all I can see. I don't know. Because I'm certainly not over here telling them, nah, you don't need a man, and no, you don't marry no nigga. And I feel like people think that that's what us single mothers do, and I know some, but I don't know. I ain't one of them. I ain't one
Right.
of them, and I ain't never kept my kids from them. But he damn sure tell the story that I took his kids from him. So there's that. you know.
Yeah, I know there, like Father's Day, like you said, there was a lot of videos where the men were showing that the women weren't letting them take the
Yeah,
children.
yeah,
That happens a lot though. They
yeah.
got
Well, I'm
the
sure,
women,
but
and listen, I even get a point. Like I said early on in when the kids were young, I was one like, no, you can't. They too young for you to have them. Like if we would have got separated or divorced, like I would have probably fought for him not to get them. But that was me being selfish. See, we as women, we start making it seem like the baby belongs to us. I felt
yeah,
like that.
yeah. Well,
I,
okay, but see, here's the flip side of that, and I get that, and see, this is what people have to understand. Sometimes it's not always that cut and dry, okay? Because he's one of those ones. He ain't got nothing on video to prove it, but this is how he tells the story. So much so to where his sisters repeated the same story to my girls. Like, well, we would have been in y'all lives. Like this Negro got four sisters. Okay. He was the youngest out of six. So but he had four sisters. And you would have thought that where he fell short, his sisters would have picked up the slack, so to speak. But they didn't. But now here we are. My kids are grown and they feeling the ways. So the way they,
oh,
get out of it or make themselves feel less guilty, they tell them, my girls, well, your mom, took y'all away from us or some shit.
how you took them away? Did you
No,
move
not
out of state or
somewhere
something?
around the corner. Look,
Oh, well, you ain't took them away then, because if they
right.
wanted to be there, they could have been there.
They never not knew where my kids were. Let's put it that
Right,
way. They never
right.
not knew. Look, let me tell you. I moved from where I was living, but my mama stayed there. My mama was the kids' babysitter. So it was like
Mhm.
my kids didn't even move. They just slept somewhere different at night. But in the
Right,
daytime, they was at their old house. Now you looking for your children, nigga, they at their old house. What are you talking about? You looking for
right.
your kids?
Yeah,
What are
that
you
was
talking
their
about?
excuse. You know what I
Ain't
mean?
nobody moved. You see what I'm saying? He never went to my mama house saying, where are my kids? Because they probably would have been there. I'm at work. That,
Right,
Negro, stop that. You know what I'm saying? But this is how people will take a story, take a narrative, and they'll hold on to it if they don't never been told nothing else, if nobody correct them, you know. But what I was gonna say about the age thing, it just kind of depends. And our situation was just not normal, just one of those where we had, I call, overlapping relationships is what I call them. So I have a child and he has another child by somebody else, and they're like 4 months apart. So that kind of caused contingency back then and all this. So I'm saying that to say, when my older kids were old enough to go over and spend time with him, I chose not to send the younger one because she didn't really know him like that. He hadn't really spent any time with her, and she didn't, really understand. She's like 1 or 2 or something like that. So she didn't really understand, what was going on. But the older two was like, oh, we want to go to our dad. We want to go to our dads. So they went, but then they had to be faced with the reality of, oh, dad got a whole nother family over here. Oh, we kind of didn't know that. I knew that, and I wanted them to kind of ease their way into that, but
hmm
nobody was listening to mom because, oh, they got to go be with their dad. No, we need to take it slow. Nobody was listening. And so, when we don't listen to experts or take our time and not just be all gung-ho and try to think about, 2 steps ahead for the kids' sake, this is what happens. So they went, and no, I chose to, keep her behind, but then it kind of flipped. Then when she got old enough to go, the older two had like kind of wiped their hands of it because he never really um got that, put in enough time to get a bond with them when they would be there. He would leave. He'd be gone. He'd be running the streets, because he's
Right.
that dude. So it didn't even matter if they was with me, with him. He just didn't engage, and he just didn't bond with them. And that had nothing to do with me or anybody else. And that's what he's coming to realize now as his kids are older. But I'm saying all that to say, people say, oh, but that's messed up. You didn't let the kids go. But it just depends on the circumstance. It depends on what all is, going on. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
And I agree with you, but you know what I also agree with is that's why we as women, we need to know who we dealing with before we start producing these children, because a lot of these men already have children. And we don't, and the women don't, either they do know it or don't know it. But when they start bringing other children into it, the guy has just as much, my husband had just as much right to keep my kids as I did. Although in my heart, I was like, hell no, I just pushed out this baby.
Right, yeah.
But through the courts, the reality is the father has just as much right to the kids as the mother.
Right.
And it's difficult. You know what I'm saying? It's difficult for us to hear that, but it's true. The kids have a right to know their fathers, just like they have the right to know their mothers. All the mothers aren't great mothers neither. You know what I mean? We can't sit back and make it seem like the men aren't gonna do their part, because they got a lot of women who got their kids and they not doing their part.
Right.
But I see, I and I'm not saying this happens to every female. There's a lot of females. You're right. They kept their kids away from that man for a reason.
Yeah. Well,
Some of them
good reason. Yeah. And
yeah, good reason.
Petty, spiteful,
Right. And some of these men, after they gotten older, like you said, like yours, they want to go to the kids and make it seem like it's your fault.
Right.
Want to blame the woman that he wasn't there for his kids, but he as a grown man, he had no reason not to be near his kids, because he could have went to court and got them kids.
Right.
At least visitation. And if he didn't take it that far, that meant he was too busy doing some other shit. Exactly. And now he want to use, you know what I mean? And a lot of men do that. They wait for the kids to get older.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Mika.
Hey.
Oh, hey. There's somebody else on here with us. Hey.
Yeah, Mika came back.
I'm out.
You leaving? Somebody have music in the background. Whoever has the music, you got to mute yourself, because they'll block it.
Hold on. You can hear that? I think that's my TV. Hold on.
Oh, is it the TV? Well, don't worry about it. Yeah, but
I'll turn it down.
Okay. But anyway, so
I don't like any absolutes of anything. You know what I
mean? Oh yeah,
I
understand.
All men ain't deadbeats and shit. All single mamas ain't shit. I mean, you know what I mean?
That's true. That is true.
Yeah.
I know a lot of no good folks that had two parents. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I know that's right. You're right about that. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're so right about that. No, there's no joke about that. I'm just, when I give a perspective, it's a perspective that a lot of young women don't know, because, like you said, they don't see the married couples in the neighborhoods or in the families. So it's not that I'm telling these women you got to be married, or you. I'm just saying that I used to be a female who used to say, can raise a woman could raise the kids by herself with no help from a man. I used to be like that, because you know what? In my family, children usually dealt with the mothers. The mothers were the caretakers.
When you was talking about the men dying, I was eating, so I didn't want to get on and get on there and be giving them a show for free, because when I eat, I expect to be paid for it, because apparently it turns some people on. But anyway, by the time I was born, my grandmother's generation, there were no men. On my mom's side, when all the men had already died off. All my grandma's sisters and stuff, all their husbands were already passed. By the time I was born, I never seen no men. It was always women, straight matriarchal.
Yeah.
And the ones, you know, that did, like on my dad's side, some of the men that were still living, you still didn't really see them. I mean, they sat in their chair and they watched their TV. They didn't engage. They went outside playing ball and shit with the kids. I mean, it just, you know, it's like
Right.
everything just all switched drastically. And then I've said this before, what constitutes a good dad has changed, you know, drastically. You know what I mean? A good dad just used to mean you went to work and your ass brought your ass home at a decent time, and mom knew
Right.
where your ass was at, you know.
Yeah. And that was my dad. My dad was the dad who went to work. We rarely, he was the discipline, you know, he was the one that
Yeah.
my mom would say, I'm gonna tell your dad.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't really get too involved. But even that, him being there every day,
Mm-hmm.
going to work every day, taught me something. It taught my brother and my sister something.
Yeah.
But he literally didn't do too much with us.
But what I'm saying is now, I think, you know, even though I'm not speaking to the son bitch, I think my brother is a good dad, a good man, a good husband. But you let his wife tell it, you know, she'll talk about him all afternoon long. He don't do this, he just do that. I'm like, but he go to work and he come home and he just want to sit and watch his sports. And okay, well, that sounds like what my dad did, except, you know, my dad used to run the street and had hella women and, you know,
Right.
where ran
That
with the
Papa was a
Mississippi
Rolling
club and,
Stone, huh?
you know, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. You know, and so again, it's like, well, hell, what do you want from him? You know, she want all this stuff from my brother, and I'm like, but he didn't have no example of that. You know,
Right.
what y'all consider a good dad now in 2018, that wasn't the same thing. You know, in 1978. You know what constituted a good dad, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, my husband was just like my dad. My husband basically he didn't deal with the kids much. He just did like you said. He went to work. When he came home, you watched him
That
sit
ain't
on the
enough for some of
couch.
these women. That I'm
Yeah.
telling you, that ain't enough for some of these women. Because my sister-in-law talked so bad about my brother to me, like that ain't even my own brother.
Yeah, she trying to piss you off, but what is she complaining about though?
Girl,
What
the
is it that
color
she
of the
want?
moon, shit, every damn thing. For as I'm concerned, I mean,
Yeah.
shit. You know, th- well, part of it, you know, my brother is not a very take charge person. Okay,
Hmm.
so she was kind of complaining that she kind of had to do everything for him and this and that. And, you know, only thing I could tell her was like, you know, well, sorry, but, you know, we kind of groomed him like that. You
Right.
know, he was younger than me. I was the boss. He let me be the boss.
And she
He
chose his ass. So
and,
what's she complaining not
Yeah,
for?
that's
right.
what I
This
was
is
about
how
to say.
basically this is how he is. Right. This is
Right.
love him or leave him. You know, that's what I was telling her ass. But yeah, I don't know. She just, you know, but some people ain't never happy. It don't matter, you know,
Right.
and that's really what her story
Mhm.
is.
And
But
how old are their kids? They have young kids?
no, their youngest is 16.
Okay. She might
Yeah.
be just a little frustrated with, because it's true.
Girl, no, this was her pre-marriage talk.
Oh,
Mm.
That was that bitch talking that shit before they got married. Yes. No.
because for you single parents, the ones who aren't married, the married women have it just as tough, but y'all have it a little tougher because, like you said, you don't have a second person. Like when I wanted to go somewhere on the weekend with my girlfriends, it wasn't often, but I was able to do that. I tell my husband I'm going somewhere next weekend or whenever, and he would be there to watch the kids. So he did offer, and sometimes, I could leave the kids with him, even if he was asleep. I knew that he was there. He would keep an eye and an ear out for him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I had
Mm-hmm.
it a little easier, but
You
it's
know
not
what's
like.
funny though?
Go
I
ahead.
have most of my friends, like I think when I was about 25 years old, I was engaged. And I don't know, it just wasn't right between me and him. It really wasn't right. And I kept getting signs saying, do not marry this man. You will be unhappy for the rest of your life. Right. And it was like all my friends around me were married. And I'm not the type of person that just because I want to get married just to say I'm married. I actually believe
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I want that long,
Oh,
you know,
Shanika, you
and
hit that. You wait, hold on, because I'll forget. I'm old and I'm premenopausal, so my memory is shot. you hit the nail on the head though, because she would always say to me, okay, and maybe this is why it's a sore spot for me, this whole baby mama thing. This bitch used to
Mhm.
say, I don't want to be a baby mama like Elle. I ain't gonna say my real name, but I don't want to be a baby mama like so and so. I don't want to be a
Mhm.
baby. So maybe you know what I mean? So you're saying like she got married just to get married, just so she wouldn't be in this category. Well, that
And
really ain't good enough
Oh,
reason, as far as I'm
let me
concerned.
yeah.
tell you, my friend, my so-called best friend told her grandmother, because at the time it was a group of us, but this particular female, we grew up together on the same block. Okay, this is like 20, 30 years of friendship. She told her grandmother, she was married. Now she did get married, but her marriage wasn't working out, and she saw that the females she had around her weren't married, but we were
Mm,
prospering, we were doing what we were doing. And so she told her grandma, I don't understand, they're not married, so how come it seems like they're living a better life, I guess, as
oh
far as
Lord.
working. And I didn't get it when her grandmother told me this. I never said nothing to her, but I was pissed off. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, the problem is when y'all got married, he didn't have anything. He already showed you who he was.
Mhm.
You chose to marry him for that same reason. You didn't want to be like your mother. You didn't want to have kids by different men. You
Mm-hmm.
wanted to her thing, because she in a sense looked down on her mom when she got married. And I'm like, you got to be
Mm-hmm.
careful of
Mm-hmm.
doing things like that, because ask where they're at right now. They're
Divorce.
not together,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
separated.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
You have to be careful. And I think for me, when it comes to marriage, like, I'm not really big into relationships. I'm in a relationship and it's going good, but if something was to happen, I could walk away and be okay.
Right. Right.
That's and I think that's always been my mentality. But as I get older, I do want someone that I can grow, old with, travel with, and do things with. It doesn't necessarily have to be a husband,
Right.
you
And
know.
you know what? That's a benefit y'all have also, right? Because you know for a fact, without a doubt, that if y'all were to break up, you and your mate, whether y'all get married or not, you will be okay, right? And
Hmm.
I don't like. I am a different person because I'm not sure. I know for a fact I'll be okay, but when I say I know I'll be okay, that means I know that there will be another man there ready to marry me. But
Yeah. Okay.
I'm saying, like, I'm
All
being
right.
honest. Like, I know I will be able to find another husband. It won't be no big deal. I know I'll
Hmm.
end up married again. But you know what? So it's not that I'm against single women or even for marriage. It's just that me. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That's just who I am. Like I want family. I would have more children. You know what I mean? I didn't want to push them out, but I want to adopt some children. That's just me.
And
So
I
I'm not here. That's what I'm saying. I'm not here to beat up on
mm-mm.
single women children. I do want them to know though that they need to the way you need to raise your kids, the things you need to talk to them about. We need to stay on it because you don't want them to purposely not have the option. I did have the option to get married.
Options are a beautiful thing, and I'm
Yes.
learning that as I get older. I'm
Hmm.
learning options are a beautiful thing, and there's nothing wrong with weighing your options. There's
Right.
nothing wrong with it. I
Nothing wrong at
mean,
all.
I think how I feel now is I look at a lot of the young girls coming up, and I don't know. I feel kind of bad. Not all of them. Some of them have a good structure home, and honestly, some no, it's not all with them having the father in the home or the mother, but they have a good structure. Because I believe, you train or you bring your child up the way you were taught.
Right.
When I was coming up, well, I just turned 39, but in my home, it was my mother and my grandmother. Okay, their husbands passed away, so they worked together. You know, it was like my mother was the enforcer. She is the one that if we did anything wrong, she would tear our asses up. And I mean, she really did. And my grandmother was the one who kind of took us in. She gave us the hugs. She would do, you know, I don't know. She was just more nurturing than my mother.
Right,
You know?
right.
And well, the thing about it is, my mother, she reminded me of a man. She really did. Just the way she acted. So I would always say, my mother is my father, and my grandmother is the mother, because that's kind of how it seemed to me when I was younger. That's how it
Yeah,
seemed to me. But now that I'm older and I look at it, they were a team.
yeah, they were taking on roles, right?
They took on the role. My mother went out, she went to work. Grandmother stayed home. She watched me, and my mother was a foster parent. And she adopted me. So,
Mhm.
my grandmother would stay home with the kids, and the more they would have foster kids come in, it was my grandmother who was really with them and connected with them and bonded with them. My mother was just the provider, I guess you would say.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
didn't have that connection. She
Oh, okay.
that connection. So I think I did have uncles, and um, so I saw the males in the family,
Hmm.
married. Some of them were not married. They had girlfriends and they had kids. But when you're younger, you don't know anything about single parenthood. You're not thinking about any of that. You know what I
Right.
mean? But as I look back on it now, it was just the dynamics of everything. I did have male figures. My uncle taught me how to play the piano. Other uncle, he gave me my first drink. But
Right.
it was still a male presence.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think that a lot of these young girls, some of them are just lost and they don't have any structure or stability. And I think these conversations are important for the simple fact you never know who's listening.
Right.
You know what I mean? You never
I,
know who.
I especially like this conversation because you just said something that's important, and it has been going on for centuries. Where the parent, the females, the mothers, have been taking on roles to make sure that their families were taken care of and taken. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and that's what I like when we have conversations where you can see different viewpoints. Because you're
And
right.
oh yeah.
The men in my family, like I said, they died off.
Hmm.
Most of them. You're right. My grandfathers was dead before I even became teenagers. Uh, I did have a lot of uncles. I still have uncles, who's still alive, and they were in my family. Because all the females in my family were married, like every aunt and like everybody. So that's what I grew up with. That's why I think the marriage thing is what I fell into. Like you
Hmm.
said, you practice what you learn. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
I understand. And I like the fact that, like you just said, it does, you may not need a man. You know what I mean? Especially in today's society, you may not need a man, but the women who take the role, they need to know what they're doing to ensure that their children are taken care of and learn everything they need.
Yeah.
Because what I was gonna say, when I look back over the generations, when they start, like I said, pointing fingers, and they, say, oh well, feminism moved the man out of the home, and it made the woman want, welfare other than the man or something, right? But when I look back, the generation previous, um, that was the generation where the men went off to war. you
Right.
know. So when my
Hmm.
grandmother, when generation moved from uh, New Orleans, Louisiana to California, they moved to work in the shipyards. Well, my grandfather was off in the war, and it was like you said, and they said, and from the way I understood it, that my great grandmother took care of the kids.
What part of
So
California
it's
you
like,
in?
I'm in Oakland.
We might be related. Are we related?
I don't know. You never know, baby.
I'm serious. I'm not even lying with you right now.
You said
You
rules
in
on?
Oakland? You related to any Fergusons or?
Not that I know of. Rules
We're
on
gonna
is
have to
my
talk so I can find out what you like. Because you know what? When you just mentioned you from Louisiana and then you went to Oakland, I was like, okay,
yeah. Well, a lot of them did. A lot of them came to,
yeah,
but they systematically had to learn how to make it without the men. You
you're
know,
right.
and so it's been set up this way. This is nothing new. We just trying to adapt. We just trying to make it work. You
Yeah.
know,
Mm,
because
you're right.
the kids is gonna come. The babies is gonna come.
And it happened for
You know?
centuries. You're right, because the men went off the war, and
Yeah.
a lot of men never came back.
But you know what's funny when you say that? If you like talking about welfare, when I looked it up, that started with the Great Depression.
Hmm.
Right.
And it was actually
White
made
folks.
exactly, but it was
Mm-hmm.
actually for white
White
women
people.
and
Hmm.
children.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so now what's funny to me, and they've always been receiving it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really care about welfare. I'm like, if people need help, they need the help. I don't even care about the ones who they say use the system. I mean, that's their business and that's their ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, you got
Mm-hmm.
to understand if you were to pass away, okay, and you have these children, you are leaving nothing for your children,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
okay? But that's not, I'm just saying that's not my problem. I understand. But then what gets me is how a lot of men want to say, oh, which makes no sense to me, that the woman pushed the men out of the household to receive welfare. Now, you think about the money that people are getting for welfare now, which probably does not even cover them for a month. So I could just imagine what they were getting back then. That doesn't even make any sense
Okay,
to
so
me.
this is what happened in my household, right? Let me explain what they're talking about, even though they're exaggerating.
Mm-hmm.
So in some way, I remember my my dad was a construction worker. So during certain times of the year, he didn't work because of rain, right?
Hmm.
So during those times, my mother would go to get assistance, but she couldn't. They wouldn't give her assistance with a man in the house. So then at that time, the women had to choose. They had to choose whether they were gonna be able to feed their kids or they got to get this man out of the house so they could feed their kids. The government actually made this that
Right.
way.
Right.
So
Hmm.
it's true that the women, but there was a lot of women who didn't really kick out the man per se.
Right.
Still
Say.
dealt with him. It just
Right.
they lied. They may have lied or
Right. Right.
They
Made
do
it
made
what
nice.
they're doing now,
Made it seem
basically.
right,
better.
right.
Right.
See, back then, men wasn't getting no assistance, especially black men. You couldn't get any
Mm-hmm.
assistance, and they
Hmm.
really did put. I remember my mom had to get rid of my dad just so she can get food stamps.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They really did that,
Mm-hmm.
and so as soon as my dad, could get, and back then, by the way, they would come to your house
Right.
to check to make sure that man is not there.
Right. Watch
They
the movie Claudine. They trained us well.
right.
Yeah, that's what the movie I was thinking about, Claudine. And I
Yeah.
was wondering if, like you said, it's being exaggerated, if
Claudine.
that's where they're taking it from and
Yep.
saying
Yep.
this is what all the women did. And
Right.
that's why now you have this issue.
Mm.
I think as a woman, like I'm not a feminist and I don't, in some ways, no, I don't agree with all of their theology or whatever. But at the same point, I understand as women why we have to go harder for women. You
Right.
understand? Just for the
Yes.
simple fact of when you look at abuse, rape, molestation, and I'm not saying this does not happen to boys and men, but
Mhm.
we won't know until they come out and talk about it. But I'm just saying for us as women, I think that
We're
we
more
do have
vulnerable.
exactly, you
Right.
know, it's I don't know, it's
No,
crazy.
yeah, I think I would be pressed to say that there's not many young girls or females who've not been either molested or someone attempted or you know what I
Exactly.
mean? Especially as young as a child. I remember being like I'm talking about maybe 7, 8, 9 years old and remembering these old ass men. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Saying something or saying something, trying to get you to do certain things, trying to give you candy and things like that. And a lot of time it would be people who was the family would know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It would be
Let me
some, yeah.
I'm sorry, let me tell you. I call her like my godmother because she's a little bit older than me. But for the longest time, like I would look up to her. And her mother, my mother will always send me to Jamaica, Queens. That's where her mother was. And I would stay weeks over there, weekends over there, because that's where all the kids were, you know? And it wasn't until maybe a couple of years ago that we actually, sat down and talked. And the stuff that she was telling me that was going on in that house
Mm.
made me feel, I mean, and I was going into that environment. Her uncle, her uncle has a child by his niece. The foster children that were going into that home, the girls and the boys, her, this woman's brother basically molested all of them.
All of them. He had access to all them fucking kids. And
And she was giving him free access. It wasn't until my godmother called CPS and the foster agency anonymously and told them, and they finally came in and investigated, and she was shut down. But she had already adopted some of the children,
It
and
already
he
lives.
already did what he did. One had an abortion. Her
uh,
son, her son did the same thing.
probably
And
because he saw it, he saw it being done. He thought it was something you do, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
and then because the way she act, me and her, I love her to death, but me and her would bump like butt heads a lot. You know what I mean? And that also comes into understanding a person. So when these
Mm-hmm.
men talk about these women, I hate the word hood rat. I hate that word.
Mm-hmm.
And I would
Yeah.
never call another woman a hood rat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, do you take the time to even talk to these women that you're downing? You're saying they're not this, they're sluts, they're whores, they're all of this. Do you talk to them
You even know what they've been through.
to
Right.
get
Don't
an
even know what they went
understanding?
through.
Because once she explained to me what she had went through and what them children in there went through, I had a whole nother understanding. So the way
Right.
I reacted to her was totally different. You understand? And it's like, imagine all the women out here who may act in a way that many find displeasing or whatever. Imagine their story,
Right.
you
Mm-hmm.
know?
You're right about that. That's another point of view. Also, I think some of the men need to take before they, make these videos where they down. It's a lot of things they saying that has some truth to it, but they're exaggerating. Like the thing with the welfare and the black women, they're making it seem like black women chose to kick the man out so she could get assistance. Well, she had to feed her family.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, the men even they got to come and eat also. It's not
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
yeah, it's not like she would kick the man out and say, "Don't come back. I'm gonna feed our children." He would be there, but of course, back then you had to take your clothes out the house. You had to act like you don't live there because them people will put you in jail.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So it was serious, and you really had back then you had a social worker who would pop up at your house
Crazy.
to check on, make sure no man is there.
But I
Mm-hmm.
wonder, were they doing that to the Jews and the Russians? Because my mom was
Oh,
a
no.
social worker, and she used to tell me that the Jewish women, okay, they would leave the husbands off of the application. They would have all of these kids, but the husbands would be doctors and things of that nature. But the
Right.
Hmm.
women would still go down and receive and receive the benefits and actually get them.
Yeah, they would get, but see, they wouldn't checking up on them, but they would check up on a black person in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's systematic. A
It
lot
is.
of these, yeah, a lot of these things these men are saying, like they act like the men not benefiting, but a woman who's on Section 8, she always has some man, some boyfriend who's willing to be there because he has a place to stay.
Exactly.
So they'll act like they're not partaking and acting like it's not beneficial to them. What? My hair soon? Yeah, I'll do your hair. I know you. Yeah. Be down there. Okay. Oh, my kids are spoiled, man. You want me to play in his hair? Anyway, yeah, no, I see. They when they tell the story, the stories aren't 100% truthful, but it has some truth.
Some truth to it. Okay. Because I just couldn't wrap my mind around a woman kicking out her husband or the man who's bringing in money just to get welfare. Because I think you have so many situations.
Right.
You know
But
what I mean?
yeah, but he wasn't bringing in money. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Hmm.
if he was bringing in money and she kicked him out for that little piece of money, that little food stamps, that's not true. That's not
They swear that's the scenario.
Exactly. And I'm
no.
just
Let
like,
them
that
tell it.
doesn't even make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, black men. It was hard for black men to get a lot of jobs back then because they would hire black women before black men. Black men is look at to be too uh thuggish, short. What's the word? To be too masculine, too strong. So they would hire when they try to claim that black women have all these jobs and they this and then that. Well, that's the way they set it up. They set it up where they
Mm-hmm.
would hire you, me, or what I mean, a female before they would bring in a black man.
Right.
But I think that also goes into, because I understand that they say it's basically to reconstruct power. They want to give the woman the power to emasculate the men. But I think that also plays into money. They don't pay women the same as men, and they're
Mm-hmm.
definitely not paying, in some cases, black women the same as what they would pay
Black
some
man.
females or
Right. All females, right. But the way they did that is not for us to put down the man, is so they could keep power over the man. See,
mm.
because they was trying to destroy the black family, which they've done to a certain extent. They're trying to destroy it, but they started to realize that the women still had the backs of the black men.
Well, do you think, because I understand white supremacy, I do, but
Mhm.
at some point in time, when is it that we start understanding that now we're giving them what we want, what they want, and we're doing it to ourselves? Because I feel like we're destroying now
Right.
the black family.
Well, that's not. Well, it's because you don't understand white supremacy fully. That's why.
Mm.
We're doing what they allowed us to do, and yes, we continuing to do it. But even if we stopped, let's say we stop killing each other, because we're not killing each other the way they claim, but let's say we stop, then what? There's still not jobs where they're gonna hire these black men in certain positions. They're not gonna let you go
But
and you start buying homes. See what happened.
doesn't that go into God plus bless the child who got his own? I think we're too dependent. I think once we understand, because I do understand white supremacy, but I also understand is that we're dependent. As much as we may, gripe
But that's
about it.
everybody though. We're
Right.
all dependent on
We
this
all
system.
dependent, but listen to this.
Mhm.
How are we
We're a
not to
part
be
of this
dependent?
system.
Like what do we do when they own everything? They own the dollar. If they don't
Right.
give you a job, then you don't get nothing. You can't say you're gonna make it yourself if they don't give it to you. They can stop you from starting a business. They can
But
stop.
doesn't
They
that
won't give
go
you
into, like, I understand what you're saying, but then I think about all the ones before us who did it.
right. They did it because they didn't put the rules and laws in place that they have now. They literally have laws and they keep adding more laws. You know, at one time you could have a t-shirt business and you could sell suppers out of your home at one point.
Mm-hmm.
You ever heard of a supper or where somebody make meals and sell it to people?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Candyland.
And now they got laws that say you can't do that no longer. They stop. They come in and start zoning areas, and now you can't have a business in your homes. They can stop this.
I understand. That's just like with the hair braiders. Now they
Right.
have to have a license. They can't braid inside the home, and now they have to have a license in order to do hair. It's like I do understand it. I really do. But
Mhm.
at the same time, it's like, okay, we know this is going on. So when I don't think we're ever going to get on one accord. I really don't believe that. And that's why it's going to continue. And it's not just with Black people. You know, I think it's just with all people. I
Right.
think we're segregated. We segregate ourselves from each other. You understand? And then we keep feeding into what they put out.
Right. Well, we segregate ourselves from each other because everybody don't want to live in the same neighborhood where we can't get the books, we can't have our children getting the best education because they take the money out of the neighborhood. So then when people get a little money, they want to move out. You want to move out for the benefit of your family. But then they make sure you can't buy into certain areas. You can only go there to rent.
But see, that's what I'm saying, Bomb. It's such, to me, it seems like victim, victim, victim. And at some point in time, we have to stop being victims.
But we got to stop being victimized too, though. I see your point. Like, I see where there are some people in certain situations where they can get out of it. You know what I mean? You could go and educate yourself and get you a job, but you will always still be this person who will always be victimized. You know, you could get out of the certain situation, but you know, if too many people start trying to do better, they'll come in and make a new law to stop that. If they decided that they were going to give everybody free education, if everybody Black started to go get educated some kind of way, they're gonna give you the education if they make it a law, but then they're gonna make it to where you're gonna need more education just to get certain jobs, because they don't want us to benefit. They really don't want us to go up that social ladder. I just found out about something yesterday where in the North, the way they deal with lynching Black people, because a lot of, when we hear about racism, we hear about it in the South more than anywhere. But up north, there's states that they don't have many Black people, like Oregon and a lot of these states. You know why they don't have a lot of Black people? They used to kill Black people who went in those areas. They made laws that said Black people couldn't even move in their state. So there was a time where Black people couldn't even go to Oregon. There was a law that said, if you come in here, we're going to kill you. We're going to lynch you. That state, you ever wonder why aren't Black people in some of these states? They kept them out. Systematically kept them out. And then the ones who live there now in Oregon, they put them in a area. They redline. Hey, you Black, you could come, because they put a law that said they couldn't keep them out no more. But then they use redline and saying, okay, you Black, you can't live here. You can't live there. You can't. Then you find yourself living in the project. You wonder why did everybody go to the projects? Think about that. You think every Black person who went to, let's say, Chicago, you think their mind was saying, I'm going to go live in this project? Or do you think when they got to Chicago, they had no choice but to move in certain areas because they wouldn't let them move nowhere else? And then I remember when Martin Luther King went to Chicago. Martin Luther King went to Chicago before he died so they could stop the red line and allow Black people to move in certain areas. So Black people started buying homes in these areas, and then the white people, they flee. They did a flight. They saw Black people moving in, and they moved out. Meaning I may have bought a $200,000 home. As soon as white people start moving out, my $200,000 home now is only worth $70,000.
Yeah.
And that's how people lose homes. Your value of your home go down, which means you'll never be able to sell it to get at least what you put into it, which means you see, this is how it's set up. It's really set up really in depth, where they won't allow you to buy homes. And when they do, think about this. Why would the poor people, why would their interest rate on a loan be higher than wealthy people? Why would people be punished for not having wealth? Think about that. You got to have good credit in order. The more you pay and the more money you make, the less you pay on the loan. But if you are poor, your interest rate is almost double than the person who has money.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Why would a bank give you a loan?
Not at all. I think once you understand, like, okay, us being Black, we look at it, of course, from being Black. But then when you understand that this is a system, and the system is not only attacking us as Black people, but it is basically poor people.
Yeah, poor people.
Poor people. And the thing about it is that I'm going into something else, but I do understand what you're saying. I guess I'm just looking at it from a point of, at some point in time, we can talk about this until we're blue in the face. But at some point in time, until we start making moves to separate ourselves from what is going on. There's schools right now. I follow a guy right now. His name is Q Butter. He has a school that he funded himself in Brooklyn, New York, and his well, I guess some people would call it a brownstone. So it's not that we can't do it. Maybe some of us don't have the information to do it, and some of us just don't want to do it because we're so dependent on the system.
But when you say he funded a school in a brownstone, how many?
He's in Brooklyn. He's in Brooklyn. He has right now. He has one school, and it's catering to. I believe it starts from elementary up to high school. And
how many students though could be in a brownstone?
No, I'm not sure how many students he has. He shows basically the classroom, and he does it for the children in the neighborhood.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, he does it for the children in the neighborhood. So that's just an example of him not waiting for the system to sit up there and tell him, no, you can't do this, you can't do this. No, he's doing it.
Right, but the only reason he's able to do it is because of the laws where you can school your children at home now, right?
Yeah, homeschooling.
Say it again.
Homeschooling.
Yeah, but that's the way he's using that law to be able to do what he's doing now.
To educate, and his curriculum is not, because see, that's another problem that I have. We sit up here and we talk about education, right? And we're talking, especially when it comes to the public school. We know that they're constantly taking things away from children going to public school. We know that the education in the public school is terrible, right? But we still depend on them to teach our children. Why?
Like, we got no choice. No choice.
You have a choice.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a choice. I hate to cut in.
No, how you going? If you can't even you're not even educated yourself, that means you can't homeschool the kids. If you don't have the money to take it to another person to homeschool the kids, then your kids not gonna get homeschooled. And so, if you need a job and you need to work to feed your family, then you don't have no choice, because you need to go to work and you need somebody kids. So where's the choice in that?
But no, listen to what I'm saying, Brom. You do have a choice to learn their curriculum, right? Because we're talking about the curriculum that they're giving to our children,
right?
Okay. Most of it we know is not true. Most of it we know is not true. Most of it we know is actually very useless. Okay,
Right.
so what this brother is doing is he's not teaching them what they would learn in a public school.
Right, not everything, but yes, he's teaching them what you learn in public school. He's just not teaching everything, and he's adding more. Because in order for you to be homeschooled, you have to take a test, and they gotta pass certain things that's on that test, whether it's true or not. It's the things you need to know. Homeschoolers don't just go to school. You get homeschooled, and you got to take a test to graduate.
Yeah, you do.
So he has to be teaching
Basics. And it's actually
basics.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So he's teaching at least the basics. And that includes the history. That includes the math. He just added other things to his, to it. So really,
his books are not even the books that they would receive in public school.
Right. It's probably newer books, update books.
It's a whole nother. It's mostly his education, his curriculums deal with science, mathematics, and just Black history.
Okay.
Now who are you talking about?
You could look him up. He's on YouTube. His name is.
You talking about?
You heard of him?
Oh, okay. You talking about up in New York? I thought you talking about
AJPV.
I thought you talking about the guy that's the one that shows his kids how to shoot guns and everything. I thought you was talking about him.
No, you talking about Polite?
That's his name.
That's his name. That's the one that has the wives.
No, not him. Not Polite. I know you talking about. I'm talking about the other brother. He down in New Orleans. I want to say.
Oh yeah, they got one in New Orleans. Right.
He got like 4 or 5 kids, and he trained his kids how to shoot guns and everything.
Yeah.
He's on YouTube. I mean, he's on Instagram too, but he teaches his kids at home.
Right. Not just his kids. They started a whole a group of parents who they go from house to house sometimes, but it's not just his kids, but other people's kids in the neighborhood.
I don't remember reading about or seeing about that. This might not be the same dude.
If we're talking about the same person.
Does anybody know
this dude I'm talking about, you see, everybody had to see this dude video. He showed his kid, he blindfolded one of his daughter, and she know how to unload and load a gun blindfolded.
Yeah, I
saw that video. Okay, yeah. I saw that video.
Yeah, everybody seen that video because it went viral because everybody was tripping out. Why is this, this little girl holding his gun? But she's knowledgeable and educated about it.
Yeah, they don't ask when it's a white kid. When it's a white girl.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And when y'all say it's no choice and we holler victim, but think about it. A white man can have his gun, walk down the street, and no cop will stop him. Right. But a Black person will get shot before they ask any question.
Somebody got some bad feedback.
Yeah, I'm not sure who it is.
Is it me?
Well, you got it on speaker?
No.
Do you got you talking directly through the handset?
I'm talking directly through the computer. I don't have a headset on.
That's why, that's you.
Oh, you need a headset?
No. Yeah. I'm not through a headset neither.
No, she says she's talking directly through the computer. That's her.
Yeah, I'm talking directly through mine too. It might be both of them.
No.
But I do hear some feedback. Earlier. Oh, you know what it is? So, do somebody have the... Okay.
I don't have anything open, just the Google Hangouts.
Yeah.
I'm still sounding
it's just, sound like you heard it in a box.
Yeah, you have speakers on your computer? That's what it is.
No. Yeah. I don't have any speaker. But what I'll do is I'll go out and then I'll come back in.
No, you could. Because it might not.
It ain't bad, but I know I could hear it.
Yeah, it's okay. So, what we was talking about? Yeah. Hi, Jack Paul. How you doing? Let me make sure. It's us in the room, right? Yes, it's us.
It's just us.
When white supremacy is so broad, and it's some things that some people don't understand because it can mean as far as you getting a job where you won't get paid what everybody else get. You
Exactly.
will never know
Yeah,
you paid what other people get. You will never know it.
You never know it. You're right.
exactly.
You're
Never
right.
Exactly.
ever
I
know it.
agree.
So it's also as far as you happen to apply to get an apartment, and they could tell you no, and you won't even know why.
Exactly.
They know.
Yeah, I used to
So
trip out for that because some of the white people I used to work with, we make the same amount, and I work way more hours than them. They stay in good neighborhoods, and I stayed in
exactly.
okay neighborhoods, but I wanted to advance. What I want to move up, and it's like I just said it to myself. Well, damn, he
They
sitting up
can
and tell me
go
about his right. He tell me about
when
his
they
credit score and everything, and I'm like,
right.
well, mine's good. So why in the world I don't get approved?
And listen, they could be 18, no credit at all, and they could still go to get a loan. And a black person, they want you to have a co-signer because
Yep,
they know you don't start off with good credit. You got to start off with nothing. So how
exactly.
is it that they expect you to have something that you don't have? So then they want you to have a co-signer. And they know, and so why I need a co-signer, but the white guy don't need a co-signer. We're the same age. And I tell people this all the time. Look at where you work. Like you just said, you working with the same people, probably making the same amount of money, maybe a little more because you're working more, right? More
Right,
hours. And how is it that they go to a whole different other neighborhood and
exactly.
barely making it while you in this neighborhood?
Right, exactly.
So explain that to me.
Yeah,
How is it
I
how
couldn't figure that to save my life. Like I said, I
they get
conversate with them, and they be like, "Yeah, I'm trying to straighten up my credit and this and that." I'm like, well, mine's pretty cool. I try to apply for a house over towards your way, and they told me I got denied. I told them I
Mhm.
give them, do they take double deposit, whatever the case may be, so I can be close to the job.
Right,
And it just, they just like you said, they won't come back with no answer.
right,
And then get to what you said about, when blacks move into these white neighborhoods and the homes be worth like 100,000, while the whites start, and as soon as there's so many blacks move in, now the home is worth 50,000. It
right,
has always been like that. It used to be an act, and it's still an act. It's not called that no more, but it was a point to where I forgot what state it happened in, but they told these people, in order for y'all insurance to drop, y'all have to build a wall uh in the back of y'all house,
right. I could
and
go
that's
to the
just what they did.
I can
They
go to
built
a
a wall.
neighborhood right now when they built the neighborhood, same homes, right? Same homes in this big area. But then they made one area for whites and one area for blacks, right? So there's
Hmm.
on one side it was where my husband grew up, and then on the other side was where the white kids were. Now, if I take you driving through the neighborhoods now, the black side looks good because black people when you take pride in your homes and shit, they update their homes, make sure they're yours. You know what I mean? Like in certain areas, they do that. The
Right.
white people neighborhoods look the same way they bought them in the 70s. They didn't really add on and update a lot of things, right?
Hmm.
We want to keep up with the Joneses because if somebody go and update, then most of the time in a 5 year span, everybody would have updated.
Right.
That's how it happens in black neighborhoods. But anyway, um, the black people, the white people, though, their homes are worth more than the black side. But the black side look better. It's well kept. The homes
Hmm.
have gotten bigger because of the additions. How is it that the white side is worth more? And if you live on that side, your car insurance is cheaper. Y'all ever? Well, why would if
Yeah.
we live in Delaware, all live in the same state, why is it that your insurance rates are lower than my insurance rates just based on what neighborhood I live in? Y'all do know that's how it works, right?
Yeah. That's how it works.
Neighborhoods, even though they're not saying there's more accidents that happen in the black neighborhood.
That's what they tell you.
Yeah, that's what they
Okay,
tell, and that's
yeah,
not
it's just like with
right.
the city of St. Louis. They say, well, a lot of accidents happen there. I'm like, well, if anything, I see more accidents on the highway, coming from the suburbs to the city,
Right.
not the city, itself.
They
You
get us
know,
all kinds of ways.
yeah,
They put laws in place. Like the thing about insurance, think about that. you buy a car, your insurance, you're gonna be paying on that. Even if you paid off the car, you still got a payment
Yep.
of your insurance. And then even if you get rid of the car and get another car, all that money you put in on that insurance on that car is gone. It's not
Yep.
like it carries over.
No.
So you done lost that money, and that's how they take our money from us. Insurance, there's no benefit. Like it doesn't even seem like it could be legal. You mean to tell me I've been paying insurance since I've been an adult? We've had cars. So me and my husband have been paying insurance for what, 30 years? Let's say 30 years. And we ain't never have an accident. And where's all that goddamn money?
It's insurance.
You see what I'm
They're
saying?
gonna insure you.
Yeah, but we ain't have no
Well,
accident in
that's
30
how the
years.
insurance game works, period though. I get you. But it's supposed to go,
But the
the
thing
rate's supposed
is,
to go lower, if
right,
anything.
and it does go lower, but what I'm saying though, how is that legal that they take you? Even you could buy off a house in 30 years, pay it, you know what I'm saying? And it's
True.
yours. You mean to tell me I've been paying on some shit I never had to use in 30 years, and you still gonna tell me I still have to continue? I should have paid you enough to buy a car. So any car I get from now on, it should be already insured. I gave you enough money.
You would figure
That
that.
money, that's stock market. You know how insurance work. That's stock market money. They
Right.
play the stocks
Right.
with your money.
They put it in the stocks, and it be bonded. That's basically what it is.
And guess what? Y'all might not even know this. White people ain't got to have no car insurance. Did y'all know that?
Nah, I ain't never heard nothing like that.
Let me tell you this. Go and look it up.
I
If
ain't never
you
heard
can
nothing
go
like
get a
that.
bond, you got to get a bond. You go and buy a CD worth a certain amount of money, depending on the age of your car, that your own money will insure your car. It just has to be placed in a bank account. It's like a CD. It's you go and buy a CD.
Uh-huh.
Wealthy people do not pay car insurance. Think about it. If they're wealthy, if they have an accident, generally they have the money to pay it off themselves, right? They don't.
Yeah.
The more wealth you have, the less money these people are spending. You can go look it up. You don't have to go look to find out how you don't have to get car insurance.
I ain't never heard nothing like that. I ain't never heard nothing like that. But I know that,
I know you ain't.
like I was saying, one block you could be on. It could be the house value could be like 60,000, and the next block house could be worth like 200,000 because white folks there over there.
Right.
This is the same zip code and everything,
Yeah. If you can get a $5,000 CD right now, you don't have to have no car insurance. You put that CD in that account, and that covers that. Well, it depends on the work of the car, the vehicle, stuff like that. It might be more, if the cars work more, but things like that. But yeah, you don't have to have no car insurance. You sure don't. But how many black people have maybe like 5,000 that you could just sit in somebody's bank? You know what I mean?
No, not too many. I mean,
right.
You're talking what, 1 out of 100,
Yeah. I don't say you have to have insurance for liability for other person. That's not true neither. That's what they tell you, and a lot of states put that in law.
There's a law, yeah.
Right, they put it in law, but there was a time when there was no car insurance. I remember.
Yeah. There was time with no car insurance, and it was time there wasn't a law. I remember that. Of course, you didn't have to have insurance on the car. I wasn't born in, but it was law. Came a law in like the 90s. I
was in high school when they started making car insurance a law.
Yeah, it was like in the 90s. Yeah, and we was like one of the last states to do it.
Yeah, it went by state. So I remember Louisiana was in the 80s. I was in high school. I was in high school when they started talking about, because you used to get insurance. I remember some of my friends say, "Oh, we got car insurance," and you'd be like, "For real?" You know what I mean? Because you like a bonus. Yeah, it's almost like you rich because you got car insurance. So it wasn't even something you had to have. But now,
let me see what else.
Black people will never get ahead because every time they always taking money from us. Like you will never be able to really live without paying somebody something. You could have your home, it could be yours. So why are you still paying taxes? Okay, so you pay
True.
tax area, okay. But I'm thinking I bought this house. Like this is my shit. And you still
Yeah.
gonna make me pay you money on. People lose their houses over taxes.
Yeah. Well, you thought
That's
that was something that's nothing. State of
huh?
Missouri, you could buy a car, you pay sales tax out of your pocket. It's not included with the car. So
Right.
you bought a $10,000 car, that's $500. It's like I think five. Am I right? Yeah, $500 for every 10,000. So basically, if you bought a $20,000 car, you're gonna have to come out $1,000 plus insurance. I mean,
Right.
not plus insurance. $1,000
Taxes and
for
tag.
taxes and
Right.
tags out of your pocket. Then the next year you're gonna have to pay taxes again. Next
Yeah,
year you're gonna
you
have to pay taxes again. Next year you're gonna have to pay taxes again.
yeah, you pay taxes. That's how all the states are. You pay
Nah,
with
no, it's not.
yeah.
The rest, most of these states, you just pay a registration fee
No,
after you pay the
we pay
sales tax.
taxes. Yeah, we pay taxes and tags depending on how long you buy the tag. You know, some are 2 years, some are 3 years. You can get in one
Right?
year.
No, we ain't,
That's
we just got 1 and 2. That's it.
oh,
We
okay.
don't got no 3. It's just
It's
one and
more if
two.
your car is newer, then it's
Right?
less because you don't have to go through
Exactly.
inspection as much. But yeah,
Exactly. But nah, most states you just pay that sales tax or the sales tax included, and then the years after that, then you pay uh, a registration fee to make
oh,
sure your plates, and your emissions and all that is up to date.
oh, okay. Yeah, I bought a car in Missouri. I own a home in Missouri.
No, okay, but yeah, Texas is like that. The sales tax is included in the car. You just pay the registration fee every year.
Yeah, well, it's not included in the car, but the bank will allow you to take out the loan for it. You know what I mean? Because when you go to get when you go to
No,
buy,
it's basically included because you pay 10,000 for it, then the dealer has to pay the taxes on it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, but you pay
At
it.
the
They
end of the
don't pay
year.
it for you.
Yeah, basically it's like you paying because you bought it for that price. But here, if you pay $10,000 for the car, you come out 10,000 plus 500 out of your pocket. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's how they do it everywhere. What I'm saying
Nah, I'm
though,
trying to
they
tell you,
may not.
Texas.
Yeah, like if the car $10,000 and the taxes end up being 500, the bank will allow me if they let me take out 10,500, which would be for the car
Right?
and the
Oh yeah, you
taxes.
could. Yeah, you could do that. But I'm just saying the basics of the law, how it works here with
Or they
registering the
want you to
car.
come out of your pocket.
Right. That's what I'm trying to
Yeah.
get you to. This is to
Oh yeah,
you. It
I know
sounds smooth,
Missouri.
but I'm trying to tell you that this is a scam move. You ask me.
Insurance itself is a scam move as a
Right.
whole. You know what I'm saying? But I understand what you're saying. We purchased our Mustang in Missouri, but I own a home in Lake of the Ozarks.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
But you were trying to sell it or you keeping it?
Oh, but yeah, we keep it. It's ours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we ended up paying it off maybe in 2008, I think.
So
We had
y'all renting it out now then?
yeah, and because of
Okay.
Lake of the Ozarks,
Yes.
the property they take care of it for us,
Or y'all got a
and they
condo
rent it out.
for the what you call it, for the summertime use?
Yeah, yeah, they rent it out
Okay.
to people who go there and things like that. So they
Yeah.
manage it for us.
Oh, okay.
I haven't been there in a few years. Probably been about 6 years since I've been there. If something go wrong, trust and believe, they let us know. Oh, you need a new roof. What? You need new furniture. You got to start updating because you want to keep it updated so people keep continue to rent it because that's how
Right.
it pays off. We actually the renting that place is what paid off that house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
People
other
go there all the
people,
time
yeah,
for the summer getaway for the kids. When they can't afford to go to the beaches and stuff like Cali and all that. So They go there, take the kids there for summer break.
Yep. So, we used to live there on Fort Leonard Wood. So on the weekend, we would go to our home. My husband liked to fish, so we would go there to fish. That's the only reason I got him to buy that shit. I had to talk him into. I was like, look, it's gonna when we end up getting out, it's gonna pay for itself. So, but yeah, I look. There's a lot of black people could be doing better than they are. That is true. But then we got to think of it this way as well. Like when we say people only know what they learn, and usually you learn from your parents. So if your parents didn't teach you anything, then you don't know. We got a lot of young women on here who think they know. Like I'm thinking, how do you know? I just know. Well, what the hell does that mean? If you know, how do you know? They don't be knowing. They only know what was taught to them. Even myself, when I ended up going into the military, because I went directly from getting out of high school to going out of my parents' home. I only knew what I watched through my family, and as a kid. But then when you become an adult, you got to start realizing you don't know everything. So you start listening to different people,
Right.
trying to figure out, well, how you got that? Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm
Exactly.
wondering how they got it, and then I would ask, or I would peep them out and pay attention to the moves they making. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I want what they got. Shit, I want to do better. I want to make sure I own a home. No, but my parents didn't teach me to go like, cause my parents' home was handed down to them. You know what I mean? Until Katrina, our home was actually handed down. It's family property, the home, family home. So my mother and father didn't buy a home back
So
then.
did it get destroyed or did it get damaged?
Yeah, it got destroyed. It got damaged so bad to it ended up getting destroyed. It didn't like the roof shifted, and
Oh
FEMA
yeah.
wouldn't help. Like they wouldn't. FEMA started claiming, they weren't gonna help. Like they
Yeah.
turned down a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
So eventually, my parents couldn't live there no more because it was dripping in the house. It was raining in the house.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
instead of them fixing it,
That FEMA, that's a joke. A
yeah,
real
FEMA
big
was a
joke.
joke. You right about that shit.
A real big joke.
um,
They trying to hide a lot of stuff as they was going, you know. But they said, what if they'd have been in a wealthy neighborhood? How would it been then?
yeah.
That's something I definitely want to see. I sure want to see the turnout and excuse, you know, when all these other
Oh,
so-called made-up organizations start showing up and helping out, giving out, and
Oh, you ain't see what
re-
they do with help with wealthy neighborhoods? FEMA been paying for this guy's wealthy ass vacation home in Florida for years. The home sits right over the river. Like you literally walk on a walkout. His home sits over, and they keep paying for that wealthy house to get it fixed time and time and time again. But in the poor neighborhood, when these storms come through, they fight with the poor people and won't even fix their kitchens or their homes up. But
yeah, I know that, but
there was
I
a
ain't never heard.
documentary on this shit. I was like, look at this shit
Yeah,
here.
I ain't see that about no wealthy neighborhood. I wish I'd
Yeah,
have
there
seen it.
was wealthy people with them. Look where they have their homes. They put their homes right on the coast.
Yeah, I know
The
that.
homes sitting over the water, a lot of them. And then, so when the bank comes, or FEMA, that's what they was complaining about, how FEMA, the government money, was going to help these wealthy people who had insurance already.
Right.
They were FEMA would kick in and help these people build these homes instead of telling them what they would tell anybody else. Don't put this home here no more because it's a danger zone. Like this
Right.
area, it won't even fix it. Won't help you fix it. But they help them wealthy people because it's the government.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what happened with the Mike Brown situation happened. They they had sent the guards over to the wealthy neighborhoods. I'm like, what the hell they doing over here?
Right.
And things going on, everything going down on north, and they way out in West County.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, okay, I see it. I see what y'all doing.
Yeah, they're trying to save them, but that's just for them to make
Right.
because no black person, people is going, which that's what they should do, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
exactly. Oh boy,
That,
man. I said
but
we
the
would have
truth
went
of the
over
matter,
there. We did touch the
right,
toe over there.
right. But
Man,
think about this though. You know
they
why they
insurance
do it
would
in
have
your,
flew up.
they do it in their area because they don't own it. So they actually are doing it where they should be doing it. These companies, businesses, these Chinese businesses and Korean businesses and these CVSs and all this shit, they come in the black neighborhood and take your money, right?
Right.
And then when some
Exactly.
shit pop off, they ain't trying to donate you shit. They ain't trying to
Right.
give you shit back. That's why they should be burning when shit go down. That's why. And although when the store is gone, black people got to go somewhere else. At least you ain't getting my money today. You
True.
ain't, when you pop back up, I'll come back to you. Yeah, we got to start being a little more reliable. We got to be, it was hard for Martin Luther King to get people to not ride a bus for a year.
Shit, we trying to get shit motherfuckers to stop shit watching this NFL. What's wrong about checking
I
on the score?
I can't get my
And
husband. I'm
they
like,
don't. I hate when hate to cut you off, but I hate when people say that. What that's gonna do? It's gonna do a lot. You
a
drop
lot.
them ratings and see how much them advertising people gonna come out of pocket now, and then
Right.
the NFL gonna be like, hold up.
Right. See, they talk that big game and they going for that shit because the white people are telling them that they not gonna watch it. And then we got black men like my husband. I tell him we not watching this shit, and he's like, I'm watching it. I'm watching it. No, I need to turn the goddamn cable off on them games because think about it. Like you really need to stop. We buy more they gear than white people.
You're right.
How many black people you know who don't have some sports team, at least a hat, a cap,
Exactly.
you know what I mean? A cap, a shirt. It depends on what your team is. Most people have at least one. One of these men at least have
No.
at least one.
Yeah.
And so we buy that shit. They got white people who buy shit, but they don't not like black people. We make it a style.
Yeah.
Wearing a
Exactly.
goddamn LA hat or a Cowboys hat becomes a party, a whole outfit and shit. They might wear it on game days. We put it into the hip hop
Hip
little
hop.
shit.
Exactly. We make it a
And
fashion.
yeah,
You
and
know.
so we make it a part of fashion. So we need to stop.
Yeah, we definitely need to stop. Make our own brands.
I agree.
That's why I say, that's why, I'll definitely be patronizing,
I don't know
everyone
how
I
you put
see
a
on
name of
Instagram.
somebody. You put a name of somebody in your rap song, which means now black people gonna go and buy that shit. If Beyonce mentions some company, all the women, all the beehive, they go and buy that purse or whatever that dress is she mentions.
Yeah.
So she's smart enough, her and her husband smart enough that if they did something like that, they mean they're getting paid. But a
Yeah.
lot of these other rappers, they not getting shit. They start talking about Kangos. Remember when Witchcom ran this Kango and shit? That was a part of
Yeah.
LL whole thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they ain't get a dime from that shit.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so Kangos became a whole fashion thing. Now, even I had a Kango hat.
No, I got one right now. I got
You see
one
what I'm
right
saying?
now.
And that's 20 something years later, right?
Yeah.
He made Kango and it wasn't shit before he made that. And
No.
like nobody even, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing. Kango was what? Huh? Mm. And that's
Yeah.
what we do. We take styles, put them in their songs, and make it a part of the culture. They don't get a piece of that money. Most of them designers say they don't even like niggas. They'll say that.
No.
I want them niggas wearing my stuff.
No, man. We back to ground zero when it comes to fashion. Like it was in the '90s. When the
Mm-hmm.
black companies like Cross Colors, Cork and I, Fubu wasn't out then, but Cork and I and Cross Colors and there's a few more that was out. But they would start from ground up, and it was hard for them to get like I say a placement in these big chain stores because big chain stores will come back telling them, "No, we not interested." Then when they
Right.
started seeing big chain stores started seeing most of these the how they numbers was doing. Now it's like, oh yeah, come on, bring it on. That's when they start making them big companies start writing big checks. Well, okay, well since I was gonna get $100,000 order, I need a $500,000 order from you now.
Right. You know, I was here from the beginning of hip hop. Like I remember I remember seeing it go from disco to hip hop.
Yeah.
That's how that shit really
They
went.
used to rap over disco tracks. That's all
Yeah.
it was.
So I watched that shit. I was here from the beginning, and I remember when this just gonna be a fad. It's just gonna be. They thought hip hop was just gonna be a fad.
Yeah, come and go.
Hip hop has taken over, but you know they rip black people off because
Oh yeah, they ripped us up big time.
Up until like 5 years ago, they would hate a song, but they'll wait 10 years after that song is released. See, now you get the copyright on the song is worth less, way less, even if they even have the right to the copyright. 10 years after a song is released, you'll see it in a commercial. These white people start using it. Remember that commercial? Yeah, push it. That was like 20
they was basically trying to outlaw this song because they said it was sexual.
Yeah, they were saying all negative things about all the black songs. Yeah. We either was trying to have fights or being too sexual. You know, black women, we too sexual. It don't even matter.
Back then, I mean, hip hop, you know, it was more, you know, unity. You know, it was more unity. You know,
Queen Latifah
any battle rapping, it was done on the mic, and you know, if you lost, you went home and came back. It wasn't none of this you see now. You know, motherfuckers want to kill each other.
Y'all see that XXX with his guy got killed, huh?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you got these internet YouTubers and vloggers sitting up here trying to investigate off their computer. Oh my God.
Yeah, Rita's daughter. YouTube. That's what I used to come here for, the music. And I like looking at dancers, like the when they come up with choreography. You know, that's what I used to sit here and watch all the time. Up until I started this shit. Huh?
You said just like YouTube.
Yeah, give me a minute.
Any song that is 10
Oh, you
years
coming down?
older.
Yeah, come on.
I mean, you can play any song.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, what you were saying earlier, Out of the Storm. Yeah, with the tags. Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. It got to a point like, man, if I pay this amount this year, I might as well go ahead and give me another ride. That's how I felt.
Someone like you need to catch a bus. All that goddamn money.
I can't catch no bus here, man. I can hit the train.
But the way you saying like $500 a year, that's a what?
Yeah, well, if you pay $500 the first year, next year probably be like $300. It goes down because the value of your car. But even still, you figure what, $200 more bucks. I'd rather just go and go give me another ride, a new ride. And just pay, the extra, I'm gonna have to pay sales tax anyway. Right, so I hate to pay this $500. I mean, it's $300 or $500 in taxes, and then
Okay. Anyway, so I agree. But that's too much money, like you said, and
like I was saying, I hate to pay this $300, $400, $500 in taxes, and then a couple months later, after I done paid it, I see a car I like it at the price I want it. Then get this, then I have to pay another $300, $400, $500. It's like that $300, $400, $500 went down the drain because I didn't get to live off the 2 years I paid for it for.
Right.
So.
Anyway, I'm gonna hop off of here because I'm about to do my son's hair. I was gonna sit here and do it, but he want to watch TV. He's spoiled. I've got him all spoiled. I did my husband's feet, Father's Day. I don't do my kids' feet. Okay, I don't go that far with them, but I'll play in their scalp and all that shit. One of them got dreads, and the other one, he cuts his hair and let it grow and cuts his. Who knows? But yeah, we need to chat again. But we need to come up with topics so we can stick to the. I like this one. I think I can keep this one up. What y'all think?
Was it the health?
Yeah, we didn't really talk about health, but we did have some nice conversation. Would this conversation be something people would listen to? Like, remember you said you listened to them at work or wherever? I think this was a good topic, a good chat.
Just call it a good chat.
Because I usually y'all know, I'm not sure if y'all noticed, but I delete them because I never know what I might have said.
Yeah,
And never
sometimes
know,
get the real.
they never know what I might have done.
Yeah,
Uh,
damn, you done got 12 haters that stop by all this time.
yeah,
Just
I
got off
saw
work.
them. It was somebody came in and then they started switching them names. It wasn't even that many people. The most people ever been here at one time was 12. Somebody would come in and go out, hit it, then it would go out and come back and hit it. Like it happened back to back. I watched as it would do
I
it.
don't think you could do it again. You can only do it one time, bro.
No, you can't.
I mean, you can switch names, yeah, but I
That's what I'm
mean,
talking about.
oh no, yeah, that's too much switching
What are
names.
you talking about? That's all you got. I can switch the names right now.
Yeah, you can
And
switch your
why?
name, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying. I thought you said leave out the chat, come back under the same name, and hit it again. No, you can't
Oh
do it like
no.
that. It's that
Yeah.
one vote per name.
Yeah, but it's real simple to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
it's real
right,
simple to do that, but man, it's 12
like
different accounts, man. That's too damn much.
what are you talking about? In the second that I just talked to you and said that is simple, I'm in the chat under a different name talking to you right now. I
Yeah, I
said
ain't
hi.
saying. I'm just saying, just the point of sitting here and making all them damn
Look,
accounts.
I said hi under bomb Creole and Cajun living with bomb cherry. And the second that I even just said that hi, I just switched under another account and I'm
Yeah, that's too
about to
much.
it what you mean? It
That's
only takes a second.
yeah, I know, but that's too much. That's just
But
too
that's what they
much.
do.
Yeah, that sound like some serious beef or
I
serious
just said hi just
vendetta, some envy,
now.
something.
Look, Creole and Cajun living with Bomb Cherry said hi. Creole and Cajun living just said hi. I could switch under my real name and say hi. Like it don't take but a second. So it's not like it's not long at all. It's not much. And that's what they do. That's how which Penny. Penny was up in here just a switching name as quick as you could block her. She was here under another one, just that quick.
Man, you switch all of them names. Why don't you just sit talking? You know what I'm saying, and get on the Google chat. You ain't
Yeah.
gotta switch all them damn
And
names.
the worst thing I said about her is that she's a troll. I couldn't believe old dude came after me by me saying she's a troll. And I mean, and it was an animation. It was all jokes. It wasn't even nothing serious. But that's how it happens. But see, what they do,
You
they,
know how
they
that
don't just
is.
troll on YouTube. They follow me on Instagram. They follow me
Damn.
on Facebook.
Yeah, that's something serious within that.
Oh, don't let me
They
turn you
must
like.
be some unattractive folks.
Oh,
Something.
I don't even think it's about looks. But it's
It
just.
gotta be.
I don't know. I hope that it ain't, because you know what I'm saying. Like I'm an older woman. I'm not competing. I was never,
I,
even when I was
I
younger, I
know.
wasn't competing with the women. You know what I mean? That's just not who I am. But I will talk about myself. You know what I'm saying? Whether I gain
Listen,
weight,
I
weight,
think
I'm
there's something
always
wrong with
gonna be
them.
bomb. Get out of here. I'm always gonna be like, yeah. I'm not the type to say I look better than anyone, but I am the type to say I love who I am, and my body has been changing throughout the years. There's been time I remember I used to hate my size. It didn't matter what size I was, whether I was thin or large. Because as a woman, I just never was that. Like, you always want to be better. You know what I mean? Or what you consider to be better. So I don't know if you men have that problem. I never hear y'all talk about that. But, as women, I remember, like, I had a crush on a guy all throughout high school. There was one guy I had a crush on for years. I never told him. I think things would have been so much easier. Come to find out, he had a crush on me as well. Guess when we find out when we grown ass adults in family, you're thinking, well, damn, I had all that stress as a kid when I could have just said hi, and could have told you I had a crush on you.
It be like that. Yeah, it be like that.
It's like everybody's scared of each other, right?
Yeah, I mean, a
But
rejection.
do you think it's like that now, though, with these men?
Yeah.
It's the women. I think it's about a lot of rejection of men who haven't really been rejected, but they are scared of getting rejected.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, being on the internet, I mean, it's something different from men in real life. Real life, the ones on the internet, they don't go out like that. When they do, they like loners, you know. And when they go out, they don't know how to react because you can't act like you do on the internet in real
Right.
life. Come on, they could put on their little stunt in front, for the camera for you, the quick 3, 4, 5 minutes or however long it is, but they ain't finna be, out acting like that in public, like they act on the internet.
Yeah.
Get what you heard.
Some of them be forgetting though. You know what I mean? Like yeah. Because the truth of the matter is, I am different in person than I am on the internet. Like I tell people that, and people be like, "Oh no, I'm the same way in person as I am on the internet," and they be lying. Like there might
Right.
be some degree to that, but we all are. Not everybody, but I know I'm more vocal here on the internet. I feel more comfortable. You know what I mean? Like I'll turn
Right.
on the cam, even though y'all see what I'm wearing, which is usually my sleep, not even sleep clothes. It's my home. My
Yeah.
house clothes, right? Nothing that I walk outside in. But I can't really go outside in this. I would if it wasn't for children and shit like that, because it is, what I mean. But yeah, I know I'm different. I'm more vocal online. I won't. It's not like I'll just talk to strangers in person. Here, we always talking to strangers. We won't be knowing people for real.
Right. Exactly. I mean, to the average person who ain't online, they gonna say you strange.
Right. I know. Look, I know I'm a strange person. I,
they,
I know I'm.
they just seriously. I don't know if back in '05 era. I got that a lot. How could you sit and talk to people you don't know?
Yeah.
I'm like,
Remember
but
that?
hey,
Not
yeah,
everybody
I remember
online,
that.
right?
Exactly. It's cool now. It's
Yeah, it's
cool
cool
now.
now. Yeah, they used to tell me yeah, I used to hear that all the time. Because
Yeah, I used to hear it
people in
too.
my neighborhood would hear me speaking, like they would hear me in the room speaking, and they would never know who I'm talking to. I'd be laughing and cracking up, and they didn't know anything about the internet back then.
Right.
We used to have all kind, and we used to talk about everything.
Everything. Yeah.
And I'm really, people know me as the Black Dr. Ruth of the internet, so I will always telling people how to, sexuality and sex and things like that. And oh my God. But in person, you would never hear me talking about
Talking
sex.
like that, right?
Never.
I mean, because you kept it
Yeah,
to a minimum. You know,
you would, I
you
would
couldn't
never
talk.
just,
You know what I'm saying, like that. In person, unless you around
right.
like-minded others.
Exact. People used to beat me and they would see a different, you know what I mean? Because I'm I'm more reserved in person. Although I still have fun and everything, but I'm not gonna sit there and we're not gonna be talking about sex like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's no need to talk about sex in person with me. You don't have to go get you a girlfriend. Shit, I'm married. That's it. And I hate, you heard me, this guy who called me on Facebook Messenger and shit. I try
Hmm.
not to be mean like that, but I have to be mean to these men. Because you heard that dude. Was you in here when
Yeah,
he called me?
I mean, they get too comfortable.
Yeah, you saw he was like, why? Like I'm like, please don't call me without permission. Why? What? You know how
Yeah,
your
they get
mother,
too
you ever
comfortable.
ask your mother why? If she told you to do something, you be like, why? You know better than to ask your mama why. When they ask me why, I just told you not to contact me. There is no why. Just do what I say. Shit. I don't know you like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's got a little bit bolder than what it used to be.
Yeah. And see, the men don't understand how some women could be, like I see the excuse why there would be some black females who would be aggressive or because that's a way of keeping men that distance. You know what I mean? Like if I know being mean to him, the way I acted, gonna stop him from calling me. You see what I'm saying? But see, if I would have said, "Can you please call me back later?" Or if I would have said, "Well, can you please stop calling me without permission?" And he asked why, and if I would have gave him a reason why, he would have asked me a whole nother fucking question and
Yeah,
another
he'll
question.
go with it.
Yeah, he would just
Right.
keep asking
Try
because
to blow it off like I don't want to call you back. I want to talk.
right, and that happened to me. You know what I mean? That's how I know that's how that happened. That's why I had to resort to this. I had to resort to being firm and not letting these men play with me because he and I would have been going back and forth for 10 minutes, me explaining to him why he shouldn't be calling me out the blue.
Right.
So I bet he's not gonna call me no more. I bet you that. And that's the same fool who called me in the middle of the night. And he's not even in this country. He's from another. He's in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's some dude. His name I can't even read it.
They man, they be the worst ones.
Yeah, I got a
I
lot of
don't know what
fans.
concept they get, but I guess over that country, man, most of that is not allowed.
Yeah, none of that's allowed. Them seeing
Yeah,
me, being able to see me on webcam, that's not allowed where they
yeah,
from.
yeah.
Yeah, so they love me. I'm like, they love me so much. They be getting women to send them money. They send me money. They be scamming these women out of their money. And then I find out that they're scamming, and then I end up getting money from them. See, they don't even ask me for no money. They be wanting to send me what they call those Apple cards. You accept Apple card? What do you mean Apple card? They
Yeah, as long as they get a hold to.
Oh, man. I'm like, what is an Apple card? I didn't know yeah,
Nah,
but
junk power is actually in
iTunes
China.
cards. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Most of them be over in them like Saudi countries and stuff,
Yeah.
Russia, and
Africa and stuff like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
most of those countries.
Yeah, I mentioned that a lot of them scammers, they out of Africa. I think somebody told me no, they're not. I know they are. I know who these men are.
Well, you be talking to the
Yeah.
Nigerian
Like,
ones, yeah.
I know exactly
But
who
the
these
Saudi
men
ones, yeah, they be over in like Pakistan and Saudi Arabia and what's the other one? Start with an M. Damn.
Libya?
No, start with an M.
Oh, with a what?
Start with an M.
M.
I'm trying to think. Damn, I can't think of the name of it.
Yeah, they be over there.
They be over there. Yeah, most of them be over there.
They actually get on cam with me.
Yeah, I know.
But these women they be scamming, they don't never get on cam because they be acting like they a white male. You know what I mean? Like they really be scamming, especially these white women, them older white women.
Oh,
they be about hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, one of them got taken for $300,000. No, I'm like, man, I wish I'd have ran it to her.
I know that's right. I'm like, I want to know where that guy was.
She done gave this dude.
I was like, give me his email, cause
yeah, they ain't never slept with us. Oh man, you hit
the jackpot. Take it from you. I'm gonna take it from him. He's not gonna give it all to me, but he gonna take care of me for a minute.
Yeah, one lady was on Dr. Phil. She didn't gave one $300,000.
Oh yeah, Dr. Phil be man. And then they really be thinking they had a black woman. Did you see? That was a black woman. Yeah, she got scammed also.
Damn.
Yes, I was shocked. She was.
How much she get hit out of?
She got maybe about 500 grand. Now she's going broke. She done sold her house and shit. Yes, a nice looking black woman too.
Man,
and guess what?
Sold her a good drink.
Guess who she thought he was? The guy who was scamming her played like he was what's that guy who make those movies? The black guy, Terry Perry.
Tyler Perry.
Tyler Perry. She thought she was really in a relationship with the real Tyler Perry. And Dr. Phil was like, well, why would you send Tyler Perry money? He's wealthy. And right. She was like, but he needed money to fix his plane. She said she was sending me money.
gonna cost more than 500,000.
I'm not lying. She ended up sending that man
One
all.
tire on a plane is $100,000.
She was out of Louisiana. Yep, she was a female out of Louisiana, which I felt embarrassed. Her daughters brought her on there.
Wow.
I was like, damn.
Man, I was trying to see that one.
Yes, it wasn't even that long ago. It probably was before, because you know how they do. They're on break right now, so reruns are playing now. So it was before the rerun. So check it maybe in March, February, March.
Just if I can see that one, man.
Yeah, you gonna have to. That shit was fun. She was like, that's the real Tyler Perry. And her daughter's right, and he was like, I know Tyler Perry, and he wouldn't ask you for money to fix a plane.
Right.
Are you?
She was in love with that conversation.
Yes, she
she had to be.
Yeah, but they don't even be having real conversation. She was lonely, got divorced, so she was a divorced woman, I guess. Looking for a man, and he was there giving her those kind words. This guy didn't even speak English correctly.
Oh, well, why she don't think she's thinking speaking of Tyler Perry?
I don't
with
know.
No cam, especially how well, she probably didn't know no better.
Yeah, I think she never had now she claimed that she spoke to him before, but I think it was
she had to speak to him, but if it was straight through email, nah, man, come on.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it was like
now that email, it was email and texting, and that was what before 07, 06, somewhere in there. After that, you had to get on cam.
I know that's right.
Webcams were $20 at 07.
Man,
that's the thing we used to have. No cam, no love.
Yeah, but they got a lot of people still dating each other, never seen each other. You see that show? What's the name of that show?
Yeah, Catfish.
MTV.
I don't even see how people even put themselves in those positions. How you gonna have a long distance relationship? I seen one dude, a brother, quit his baby mama to sit here and thought he was dating a overseas model.
Right.
Like, dude, that's stupid you could be.
No, and you might be talking to a dude. You never know.
That's what it was. It was a dude, a crazy dude at that. He came up clapping and stuff like, yeah, that's what you get. And the brother was like, man, what you talking about?
I learned my lesson soon as I signed on to AOL. My first conversation on AOL lasted the whole time they gave me free. I think they gave us 10 hours free. This was so long ago. This was the beginning of AOL. Yeah. And I was talking to somebody who I don't even know. Like, I don't even know how we because back then there was no private rooms. So
it was open room.
Yeah.
Everybody see a conversation.
Yeah, this was a messenger. So I don't know how this happened, but they hit me up in Messenger. I said hi, and then we started talking. I never knew whether it was a man or female. And it didn't matter because we were just having conversation. Then somewhere after like 3 hours, this person started telling me, asking me, did I care if they were male or female? And I was like, I don't care. I don't care because we just having a conversation.
Right.
My son, I think I was either pregnant with my son. Yeah, I was pregnant with my first son, and he's 24. This is 24 years ago. So I'm pregnant. Nobody know it. You know what I mean? I'm chatting him up. All of a sudden, she tells me she's a female, and then she started getting sexual with me. Like, so it was before it was called sexting. It was called cyber sex. Remember?
Yeah.
So she's talking all this sexual shit to me, and I'm thinking this funny, right? This funny to me because I'm like, I just told her I'm a female, and I write erotica. So I was like, okay, I was listening to what she was saying, getting ideas in my head what my next story was gonna be like, right? I'm like, okay, my next story gonna be hot and steamy using this person, and then but yeah, at first she made it seem like she was a guy. Then in the end, I found out she was a woman. And then even then, she started getting real nasty with it. She started talking about some shit that was off the wall. You got to say something real negative or something. It got to be nasty for it to be off the wall to me. I'm telling you, shit was off the wall. I was like, I'm gonna have to go. My time is up.
But yeah, I
This
think they
was
used to
my
get what they used to give you like what 10 hours a month or something.
Yeah, no, this used to be just 10 hours. It was just 10 hours just to sign. You know how they get you to use this to come on.
The trial period.
And
Oh,
then
okay.
after that, if you pay by the hour.
I know Net Zero. They what did Net Zero? You remember that?
Yeah, net zero.
Yeah, they used to give you
Yeah.
like what? How many? What was it?
I
Five
think
hours a month.
yeah, I think at first net zero was free and then they started
Yeah,
charging
they
you
started charging.
because they put
Yeah,
ads, all them ads up and shit like that.
yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, this at first we was having a conversation, didn't matter. Then it was a guy, right? She played like she was a guy, and then at the end she was this female. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, it don't matter, because I'm not really into you like that, and we wasn't. But then she starts, ooh Lord. I was like, oh no, this too nasty for my stories. My stories is erotic and steamy. This is some of that nasty shit. I was like, no, this is some of that nasty shit. I don't write this kind of shit. I was like, I got to go. Oh man, I'll never forget that. And that was my first time really signing on. So I learned my lesson early. Well, my lesson was don't believe who these people say they are. Don't let
yeah.
them know who you are. Like keep hiding any. Yeah, you don't let
No,
these
Nene.
mofos know who you are for real and keep
Right,
it pushing.
right. It's just like with me and you. Like I said, all them years that I used to watch you. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Your videos on Yahoo. I never knew what you sound like. Seriously.
I know
And
you're
then
right, huh? Because people
I
just
never
watch me
cared too. I
move.
mean, in that negative way, but you know what I'm saying. It just I enjoy what I'm saying to show you the videos used to post.
Uh-huh.
And just you just leave it at that.
Right. And then,
Yeah,
people chatted in my groups and shit like that. But yeah, you're right.
yeah. Then it wasn't talking. Then it was
Right. It wasn't talking, it
texting.
was
Yeah,
texting. Yeah.
just like you see right here in the chat right here. That's what it was like.
When I tell people online that they don't know, I know they don't know who I am, but they got people who know me for, you know what I'm saying? Like 30 years damn here. Most definitely, most people know me for at least 20. Because that's when the webcam, I've been getting on webcam for 20 years. Damn near. Yeah. and I was the only female really get. How many people you knew who was really getting on webcam back then?
Not too many sisters.
That's
I tell
right.
you that.
I
I
was.
tell you what. I'm trying to think of that one chick, man. She used to straight get down. I'm trying to think of her name, man. I know her face, but I can't think of her name.
Like
I
they
have
had
to
all
go
these
log to my
websites.
Yahoo. I have to log to my Yahoo in order to get her name right. But she
Yeah.
used to get down.
Oh yeah. Now let me tell
She
you,
used
there's
to
some
straight have a
women.
party at her crib. It was a
Damn.
free invite, man.
Yeah. I had a party on. Remember, I think I had. I'm not sure if you saw, but one of my Philly parties that I had, I allowed people to watch it on webcam.
Oh, okay. Nah,
Yeah.
I ain't catch that.
Yeah.
I ain't
But
catch that.
I was the party person. I'm not sure you do know that, right? People used to come to my parties.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
used to see. Used to have make a post.
Yeah. I used to post about them parties, boy. And then
Yeah,
afterwards, whoo,
man.
boy,
Everybody used to man. That was the hookup and the key.
yes,
You know,
people came from England to my
right?
parties. People came.
Damn. I ain't going
Uh,
that damn far.
yeah, man, people was coming from California. They were coming from Canada, England. Everybody was coming to my party. I made everybody sign documents. You couldn't tell.
Oh
You
yeah,
Everything was private. You
yeah.
couldn't tell who.
That's how it was then. When the camera phones,
Yeah, there was no
none of
camera
that. Yeah,
phones.
there wasn't
Yeah,
no camera phones.
none of that. And then by the time camera phone came into it, then I started making people, that to put their phones away. But first of all, you had to get out of your street clothes, so you ain't had no pocket to be putting no phone. I'm telling
Right.
you. And not everybody had a phone back then anyway.
Right. Exactly.
So the only person who was able to take pictures at my parties was me. Like if it was me or
With a
someone who
host.
was there, yeah, someone who
Yeah,
was
you be
there with me.
fully clothed. You know what I'm saying? You be fully
I took
clothed.
pictures. Yeah, you saw pictures of the parties, right?
Yeah, I think I've seen a few.
Hell yeah, you see people in action. But but I would block their faces out like I knew to protect people. You never knew who people
Right.
were. And the only people who got in pictures were, like you said, when we were fully clothed, was those who allowed it. Because there was a lot of people who was there. They didn't want their friends to know they was at that type of party thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was, but I had lawyers, doctors,
Doctors,
I
yeah,
had
all the people
basketball
there.
players, football players. We had all kinds of people at the
Man,
party.
that one chick, man, she's supposed to picture her party. You be like, whoa. She was like $50 to get in hers. Man.
Oh, $50
Yeah.
for a single meal? That's cheap.
Yeah.
It's $100, at least $100 for a single meal at my party. More. It depends on how big the party was.
Well, it depends on where you get a host of that. Now, if you rent out a mansion and stuff, and people pay that money in. But going to a regular house, you talking about like starting $50 for a single meal. That's starting.
Yeah, no, even that, if I would have had it in my house, it would have still been $100 for a single meal, and they would have paid. Now, but the thing is, though, that was a deterrent. I want you to find a female to come with, because it's only $50 for a couple and $100 for a single meal. I wanted the men to find women to bring.
Right.
And my parties always had more females than males, which is a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how it used to be at the beginning. There was more females than there. Next thing you know,
that's how it's supposed to be, but that's not how most of the parties wasn't like that. I went to people parties. It was men. Like it would be me and two. I remember this one party. I walked in there. There was two other females in there. So I'm thinking maybe it was just us two, who was just getting undressed, right? We was in this room getting undressed to get in our, whatever we were wearing. And I look and I walk out there and I see the men. It had to be at least 40 men in there.
Damn.
And I was like, and the guy started talking. He was like, yeah, we're going to get it popping. I was like, where is everybody? Like, I'm literally, let me show you where I'm looking. Wait, I'm at the camera on, man, because I'm trying to tell you. Wait a minute. Let me see. I was like, where's everybody? Fuck out of here. I'm trying. Let me tell you something. First of all, I don't even play. Like I'm used to being the host, right? The hostess. Right. Me going to somebody else's party is really advertisement for my party, because I know that the men gonna want to come, right, to my party. And then it's also to get the women. Like I'm trying to see what the women are at their party. That's advertising, because I'm not into women, but I'll be eye candy for the women as well. I'm not gonna pull women. I pull women just like I pull men. Shit. All kinds.
Who hosted this? Who hosted that one?
Huh?
Who hosted that one that you went to? It was 3 women and 40 dudes.
There was a guy out of Philly. What was his name?
Yeah.
Damn, he had.
How much was he taking dudes to get in?
I don't know how much he was. Like I don't know. I know the women were free, because I would never pay. I don't pay. I think the women were free, but I know I didn't pay. I never paid to go to anybody's party. People invite me and they wanted me to come to their party, so I didn't pay. I ain't paying to go to nobody's party. So I'm not sure if the women. I think either the women were free or $25, which is how I did it. Either women were free or 25. It just depends on the party, how big I'm making, things like that. But it was only 3 women, and then all these men. And I don't know how much he charged them, motherfucker. But if I was there, funny back, because I'm trying to tell you, I bounced out, and I didn't even put on my clothes. I went back to that room and snatched my bag. I was like, I'm sorry, brother, because they was all looking at me like I was a goddamn ice cream cone on a summer's day. I was in this sexy all net outfit. One of them is net.
Right.
It's like
right.
I'm gonna put this stocking thing all on and shit. I'm like, yeah, I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? To tease and do what I do to get people to come to my party. And this dude was like, yeah, we're gonna get it popping off. And they all looking at me. Oh no. No. I'm like, it's not. I went to that room. I think I was out of there before they even realized I was gone. I didn't tell nobody I was leaving. I went to that. That's why I left so fast without even getting dressed. I went in that room, grabbed that bag, and I was out. I remember I even got a ticket that I never paid, a parking ticket in Philly. I remember that shit. I'll never forget that shit. Because in Philly, man, it's weird how they look like you could park in the middle, in the center of the street. I parked in the center of the street. I was waiting for you. You said you was getting off. And I heard you start talking. I was waiting. You never get up. Ah, Lord. Anyway.
Let me go ahead and let you go.
My son, like, what happened? Look, you see how lady come down here talking about what happened? Wait, you ready? Okay. Anyway, I'm going to go. I'll be back tomorrow. We're going to have a chat tomorrow.
All right.
Unless somebody else have one. Denini, I'm glad you had a good time on your vacation. Girl, I'm vacationing right now. Yeah, but I got some story. My parties was, man, I'm trying to tell you. But yeah, I've been to a few parties. I had to. There was some that I had fun at, and some. I remember this one fight that broke out at somebody's party. That's
damn. What was they fighting on?
I can't tell you now. My son in the back. He want me to do this. We're gonna have a chat, but we're gonna do this because I'm telling you, I got some stories, man.
Ain't no that problem.
Two naked men fighting, like fighting. Naked, like butt naked, both of them. I'm trying to say, oh my God. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all later.